Hey everyone, we've got a new nominating contract and match pass players on eFootball. I'm going to take a look at them all, I'm going to review them all. I will do what I usually do, so I'll run through all the 4-star players first, and then I'll give you any recommendations I have out the 4 stars, and then I'll run through the 5 stars and do the same, give you any recommendations I have for who to use your 5-star contracts on. I will then take a look at the match pass players. As always, I'll put timestamps in the description for each player on each section, so if you want to skip to a particular bit, just click the description and there'll be a link to take you to wherever you want to be taken to. So let's get into it. And we have the Brazilian League back as predicted. So the Brazilian League's back underway again. We've got our first Brazilian League player of the month of the season. We've got some Turkish League again and some J-League again. Let's start with the Brazilian League. So in here we have 4 4-star players. Let's start with this guy. So we'll start with Gabriel Taliari. So this fella is usually an SS and a deep line forward. They've changed into a centre forward and a goal poacher. Still is in normal positions, so it's really just the playing style that's changed now. Goal poacher won't be active SS. Deep line forward would have been active at both, but now we do have a goal poacher now. He doesn't have a face scan. It's the first time I've had a feature version of him. From his GP card, they put a bit of a boost on his passing, speed, his kicking power, a bit more stamina. And of course, on an attacking player, they boosted his defensives and his physical strength, naturally. And skill-wise, they've added most of these skills, I think. Rising shots, long-range shooting, first-time shot, and fighting spirit. We've also got long-range curl and through passing. So we've got some of the most important ones on a striker. First-time shot, long-range curl, especially important ones. Through passing is a nice bonus. That'll come from usually being a deep line forward, I guess, and an SS. But yeah, on the whole, I'll be honest, he doesn't look great for 4-star. I'm going to be saying the same thing for a lot of these cards, and I say it every time. If they're going to exclude most of us from the various league challenges, in this case the Brazilian League Challenge, then if you're one of the people who doesn't get to do the League Challenge anymore, then what's the point of this card for you? Are you going to find any use for him? He's not going to be good enough even for a Brazilian squad for most people. So yeah, if you get the Brazilian League Challenge for this guy, he could do a job for you, but even for a 4-star contract on a centre forward, 84 attacking awareness, 83 finishing, and a goal poacher, 82 and 83 for his pace, it's not great. It's not a great card. Yes, he's pretty tidy on the ball and got decent passing with the through passing skill for a centre forward. But really, is there anything amazing about him? Is there anything great about him? Not to be honest, there's nothing really. I mean, he's got some of the most important skills there, but even with those skills, it's just not a great card. You know, if for a Brazilian League Challenge for my Brazil account, I'll probably, to be honest, I'm not even certain I'll pick him up for that. You know, I've been looking forward to this pack for the Brazil account because I want to beef up my Brazilian League squad for when we get a Brazilian League Challenge. But even for my squad on there, it doesn't look that exciting to me. Yes, there are qualities, you know, on the ball and passing for a centre forward, for a goal poacher, pretty decent. But on a centre forward, you want more awareness and you want more finishing. And outside of that, you know, and more pace as well. So it's not that exciting. You know, yes, he's got some qualities. Yes, he's got good skills. But even for the Brazilian League Challenge, it's not that exciting of a card for me, even for a 4-star contract. And if you don't get access to the Brazilian League Challenge anymore, then frankly, it's a pretty useless looking card, really. I don't want to sound too negative, but I just don't think it's a particularly great card, even for the Brazilian League Challenge. It's not a bad one, it's just not a great one. So next up, we've got Lima. So Lima doesn't have a face scan. He's a creative playmaker, usually a roaming flank and a left wing forward, but he's now a creative playmaker and an attacking midfielder. They've added attacking midfield to his positions. We've actually had one version of him previously. It was another player of the month card from last season. That was a whole player. And that version of him had a bit more on his passing, and he had the through passing skill as well. He had a bit more on his finishing as well, actually. But this version of him is a bit more blessed with pace, balance, and dribbling. So it's kind of a question of where you want to use him. I think that previous version with the end product, you know, if you want to play him in the middle, might have been preferable. But with this version, with a bit more pace, he's tidy on the ball. It doesn't have, well, I mean, it doesn't have anything really end product wise. I mean, one-touch pass helps with the passing, but there's no through passing, no shooting skills. This guy probably, even though the movement to attack midfield is more suited to playing out wide, if you don't mind the creative playmaker playing style out wide. He's had a reasonable boost from his GP card pretty much across the board, to be honest. Nothing really stands out of those skills. Flip-flop is new, so they've enabled the ball roll double touch with double touch flip-flop and soul control there. One-touch pass and fighting spirit been added as well, but like I say, no through passing on an attack midfielder when his low pass is only 83. That kills him as an attack midfielder for me. And then out wide, got some qualities, decent pace, decent on the ball there, but no real skills to give him any end product. The passing won't be too bad, as long as, you know, in terms of straightforward low passes, but you want to be playing through passes, and when you're playing through passes, you could come up a bit short. The finishing is not too bad at 76, but again, you know, long range curler, first time shot, long range shooting, none of those shooting skills are there, so there are qualities with this guy. He might not feel too bad on the ball, you know, a bit of pace, bit of balance, decent on the ball attributes, but is the playing style going to suit you out wide? It's not going to suit me. It might suit you. It's up to you. But the lack of skills for end product hold him back a bit as well. So there are qualities with this guy. For the Brazilian League Challenge, he could be a reasonable one, a kind of, you know, a versatile card to have in your squad if you need someone to fill in any position. But it's not even that great of a card for the Brazilian League Challenge. Just like I said with the first guy. What was his name? Gabriel Taliari. I'm just checking my notes. So yeah, he's not a bad card. There are qualities, but there are negatives with him. The lack of skills in terms of end product really kind of messed him up a little bit for me. But there are qualities there. So for the Brazilian League Challenge, you could find he's a pretty useful one. But again, outside of the Brazilian League Challenge, bear in mind a lot of us don't get to take part in that anymore. I don't see a great deal of value in this card, unfortunately. And next we have our first feature version of Mateo Ponte. Again, no face scan. He's an attacking fullback, right back. That's what he usually is. And from his GP card, we lost a bit of stamina, but been boosted a bit on the ball and with his lofted pass as well. He's still not great on the ball. That's the one real downfall with this guy. He's not great on the ball. When you get on the ball with this guy, be careful. Don't try and do too much dribbling or anything. Just try and pick a simple pass, and it will need to be a simple pass because his low pass isn't great. But his lofted pass is decent at 81. Defenses are actually pretty strong. Defensive awareness is going to get just about to the 80 mark with your game plan boost. You're already in the 80s for all your other defensive attributes. That's good. Even on a 5-star right back, those will be decent, those attributes. Pace is decent. Speed's going over 90. Acceleration, you're at least in +3 territory. That'll get you to 88 with the maximum game plan boost. So pace is absolutely fine for me. Physical contact, you're going to get to the 70 mark. I'd like a bit more on a fullback, but it could be worse, certainly on an attacking fullback. Balance, likewise, you could have a bit more. Stamina's fine, though. You've got a few attributes, maybe it's a little bit low, but you've got some decent ones. The pace, the stamina, certainly the defenses I quite like the look of. Lofted 81. Do we have pinpoint crossing? We do. So, yeah, there's quite a bit to be said for this guy as an attacking fullback. Skill-wise, they've added a bunch of these skills. First time shot, he must have scored a goal or two in the last month. One-touch pass, that's handy to have. Pinpoint crossing, that's been added. Excellent, that's a very good addition. Interception is a very important one for a fullback. Sliding tackle and fighting spirit there. Yeah, for an attacking fullback, pretty decent selection skills really. You got the most important ones. So yeah, like I say, for an attacking fullback, yes, I'd like it to be more comfortable in possession. I'd like a few more points maybe on low pass and balance if I'm going to be greedy, but there are qualities there. Defensively, I think he's very decent for an attacking fullback. Very. You've got to bear in mind this is a 4-star card. The pace and stamina are fine. Those are very important. So yeah, 1 or 2 concerns with this guy. But I think, to be honest, for the Brazilian League Challenge, I think this guy could be a fantastic option. Be careful on the ball, but outside of that, got a lot of qualities as an attacking fullback. If you don't get the Brazilian League Challenge, difficult to really recommend him too strongly. But to be honest, if you rock a Brazil squad, and if you don't have Cafu or one of the other kind of top Brazilian right backs, he could do a job. You're going to need to be careful on the ball with him, but he can cross the ball. He's pretty decent defensively, and down the right there, I think he's pretty much on the march. Maybe it's the physical contact and bounce a little bit on the low side, but he's got qualities, this guy. I think for a 4-star contract, he could be decent value. For the Brazilian League Challenge, could be great value for a 4-star contract, but even outside of it, for some people, especially free-to-play players, I think for a 4-star contract, he could be decent value as an attacking right back. And next up, we have a Paraguayan centre-back, Mateo Gamarra, and he does not have a face scan. Another one doesn't have a face scan, and we have a concern with this guy. He's only about 5'10", 5'11", so he's a little bit on the short side for a centre-back. Only 83 jumping. Does he have aerial superiority? He does. Okay, so that's a little bit of a saving grace, but still, he's not the tallest. His jumping's not great. You're going to get found out if your opponent's got tall strikers, so that's a big concern with this guy. Down the middle, for a 4-star, pretty strong to be fair. The awareness and tackling both hitting the 90 mark. Aggression and engagement aren't too bad. Pace is decent for a centre-back. Physical strength a little bit lacking for me. That's a little bit too low for me. I'd like to be able to hit around about the 90 mark with physical contact, so that's a concern as well. Not great on the ball. Passing could be worse, to be fair. Looking at the skills on the whole, heading, it looks like his GP card only has heading, so they've added aerial superiority and then man mark, insertion, slide and tackle, fighting spirit. If you wanted other skills in there, I would have liked blocker, maybe his acrobatic clearance. So he is lacking a little bit in the skills, but he's got most of the important ones for a centre back. But yeah, the height and the physical strength for me are big concerns with this guy. He does have some qualities for a 4-star centre-back. The pace is decent. The defensive attributes are decent. Down the left, he's kind of all right. But the aerial ability and the physical strength are a concern for me. And it would be nice if he had blocker and acrobatic clearance as well. So there are qualities with this guy. He certainly could be worse. Looking at his GP card, they boosted quite a bit. Most things have been boosted, really. He's got a boost on his pace, his physical strength, and jumping, even though it's still not as high as I'd like it to be. Boosted his stamina, as you expect for a trending centre-back. Defensive engagement, passing, yeah, they boosted quite a bit, and he's got qualities, this guy. But again, for the Brazilian League Challenge, could be tidy as long as your opponent's strikers aren't any good in the air, because if they are, you're going to be screwed. Outside the Brazilian League Challenge, hard to recommend him, just because for a centre-back, physical strength and aerial strength is super important. So yeah, there are qualities with this guy. He's got some very decent looking attributes. He's got most of the skills he needs, but even for a 4-star contract, especially outside the Brazilian League Challenge, I'm not sure this guy's going to be too great even for a 4-star contract, really. Right, let's head to Turkey for the next 4 stars. Sorry, how many 4 stars we got in here? We have got 3 4 stars. Let's start with this fella. So we've got Bilal Bayazıt, defensive goalie. He does have a face scan. He's about 6'1", which is not a terrible height for a goalie. He's not the tallest either. But more importantly, his arm coverage is not great. If you check on eFootball Hub, his arm coverage is 167 centimeters. That is not good at all. So reach-wise, not brilliant. An 86-foot reach could be worse, but it's not great. So combine that with his arm coverage being less than 170 centimeters. There's a bit of a concern over his reach overall. Reflexes are fine. You're going to hit 90 with your game plan boost on there. Awareness at 85 is not brilliant. You're in +3 territory. You're going to get to about 88 with your maximum game plan boost, but still I'd like to be a bit higher. And then catching and parrying, not too bad, but they could be better, obviously. They certainly could be worse. So yeah, on the whole, kind of looking all right. He's had a reasonable boost with his GP cards. The first time I've had a feature version of him, so we've only got his GP card to compare to. All his goalie stats have been kind of boosted a bit. But also his distribution, they've put 8 points on low pass, 14 points on lofted pass. That's worth noting, especially the lofted pass going past 70 with the game plan boost. So that is worth noting. Now, he doesn't have a low punt, no. He's got high punt, got long throw. But yeah, kind of similar to the previous nominating contract selections. We had a couple of 4-star goalies, I think one in Japan, one in Turkey, and they're both kind of all right, but just not brilliant, really. So yeah, for the Turkish League Challenge, if you get to still do the Turkish League Challenge, this could be a decent goalkeeper option for you. It could be a solid one. It'll certainly do a job in the Turkish League Challenge, but outside of that, for things like divisions, I just noticed actually he's from the Netherlands. So yeah, maybe you rock a Netherlands squad. There aren't too many good Dutch keepers actually, so maybe for a Netherlands squad he could be worth having. That's one thing to consider. But yeah, outside of that and outside of the Turkish League Challenge, for divisions, for your kind of main squad, is he going to get in? I don't know. Bit of a reach concern, and the attributes aren't that amazing on the whole. So he could be all right for you for like I say, for the Turkish League Challenge, or for an option for your Dutch squad. But even for a 4-star contract, especially with the short arms, I'm not sure I could really recommend this guy on the whole. And next up, we've got Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, who's playing Besiktas these days. He's got a face scan, centre midfield, box to box. They've added defensive midfield and right back, so we've got a bunch of positions this guy can play in. We've had a previous version of him in a Turkish League pack quite a while ago now. I've actually got that card and I really like it. I use him as a winger. He's got the box to box playing style, so that is active as a left midfielder and right midfielder. It's going to be active in all of his fully proficient positions except for right back. But yeah, that previous version of him was better. Obviously, the stats were shuffled around a bit with this being a trending card, but I really like that previous version of him. As a winger, he's fantastic. This version of him, the only thing he's really got over the previous version is he's got a bit more on his defending attributes and a bit more on his stamina, and of course a couple of extra positions. On the whole, the previous one is a bit better. Compared to his GP card, they've taken 4 points from his speed and put them on his acceleration. They boosted his physical contact a bit. The left column, pretty much all the way down, has had a bit of a boost. That's pretty much about it, really. He's looking kind of all right on the whole. He's kind of all right on the ball. Passing's kind of all right. Has he got through passing? He's got one-touch pass and through passing. Mine doesn't have one-touch pass. If they added that, yeah, they've added one-touch pass. They've added weighted pass. Nice. They've added pinpoint crossing. I put that on mine because I use him as a winger, sometimes on the right. So, okay, we've got some good passing and crossing skills there. Got long range shooting, rising shot, long range curler. So passing and shooting is sorted defensively. nothing really there, unless you consider track back to be a defensive skill. But there's no interception, no man marking, no blocker. So are you going to use this guy as a right back? Good luck if you do. His defending attributes are poor. He's not got defensive skills. Not the quickest for a fullback. He's not got the best stamina for a fullback. I think right back's pretty much out of the question for me. But as some kind of midfielder, certainly got the passing and shooting skills. Low pass 85. Like I say, I always say this, it's around about the borderline for me. You're going to get +3 with the maximum game plan boost, so you end up with 88 on low pass. You got one touch and through. Is that high enough for you? Some people might say yes. If that's the case, then fair enough. You can get away with him. He is reasonable on the ball. Defensively though, he's poor. And then down the right, I mean, the stamina's a bit iffy for a box-to-box centre mid or defensive mid. I don't think you'd want to use the guy as a defensive mid because defensively, you know, the lack of skills, the lack of, you know, the poor defensive attributes, I don't think any defensive position is going to be one he's going to be able to do particularly well in. I think really you're looking at a guy who's not going to have particularly great passing as a box-to-box centre mid. Or if you play him on the wing, he's not exactly got electric pace. He's not got great dribbling either. My one's got much better dribbling, I think. He feels lovely on the ball. And he's certainly got more pace, man, whereas this one isn't quite so quick and, like I say, doesn't have quite so much dribbling. So he could do a job as a wide midfielder. Like I say, the box-to-box playing style will be active. It's an interesting playing style as a wide midfielder. I don't mind it at all. They'll get up and down a lot. They'll drift inside a bit. They cover a lot of ground. But the downside with that, stamina 85, he's going to get tired. So, yeah, and he's not a super sub. So, yeah, I don't know, this guy, you got qualities. He's got some good passing and shooting skills, but the passing attributes aren't amazing. The finishing attributes are not great at all. He's kind of okay on the ball, got okay pace. He's kind of got some okay stats and some iffy ones. So yeah, on the whole, not looking too exciting to me. He's versatile. Maybe for the Turkish League Challenge as a versatile option, he could be a handy one to have in your ranks, but I don't think many people are going to look at this guy and think he's going to be getting into your team for many of your squads, really. Maybe for your England squad as an option. Yeah, I think that and the Turkish League Challenge in those two cases maybe a decent versatile option. But beyond that, I think maybe it'd just be one where if you've got any emotional attachment to him, if you support Arsenal or Liverpool, then maybe you'd want him in some kind of past and present squad. But just looking at him in terms of his, objectively as a player, in terms of his overall ability, it's not an amazing one. He does have quality. He's got some decent attacking skills, but even though he's versatile, some of his positions he doesn't really have the attributes or the skills to really do a good job there. So on the whole, yeah, some decent attributes, but even for a 4-star contract, it's not particularly exciting one for me, unfortunately. And our last 4-star in the Turkish league is Guilherme. He's an attacking fullback. He does have a face scan. He's got unwavering form as well. It's not the first time I've had a version of him. We've had a previous Player of the Month version. It's very similar to this one. Stats and skills kind of shuffled around a little bit. So similar overall. There's also a highlight card from I think it was when they did the first Showtime pack from the Turkish League Player of the Season in the last season. That was slightly better than this one. Not a massive difference, although you can train it as well. So yeah, not a massive difference between this one and either of the previous two versions of him. If you compare him to his GB card, I lost a little bit off his lower body attributes, taking a couple off speed, 4 off kicking power, 5 off stamina. I think in all three of those attributes, you're kind of still high enough, so we can live with that. Where they boosted him a bit defensively. They've given him a bit more physical strength, physical contact. I think jumping as well. Left column's had a decent boost. So he's on the whole, he's had a pretty decent boost, to be honest. The ones they've nerfed, you can afford that, and they've boosted him elsewhere. But even with the fact they've boosted him in a bunch of areas, is he good enough? On the ball, bit iffy. Low pass, iffy. Defensively, pretty weak. Down the right, he's fine. I'd like a bit more balance. Apart from that, he's pretty good. But yeah, defensively, is he strong enough? What skills have we got? We've got man marking. No interception, no blocker. I like interception, man marking, blocker. Those are the 3 defensive skills I like to put on my fullbacks first. So we've got one of them, but we're lacking interception and blocker. We do have sliding, tackle, accurate clearance as well. Fighting spirit's a nice one. One-touch pass, weighted pass, pinpoint crossing, soul control as well. There are some good skills there, but he is lacking 1 or 2 very important defensive ones, and his defensive attributes aren't great. So there's a big question mark over this guy's ability to defend. Which of these skills are new, actually? Man marking is new, actually. They've added man marking. They've added fighting spirit with it. And to make room for them, they got rid of dipping shot and penalty specialist. We can live with that, without those 2, I think. So yeah, there are qualities. He's got certainly going forward. He's got some good skills. Defensively, he's got a few defensive skills, but some of the most important defensive skills aren't there, and the attributes aren't there either. So there's a big question mark over his ability to defend. Low pass 72. He's got one-touch pass, but not through passing. So you're gonna have to be careful with his passing, and he's gonna be iffy on the ball. So Yeah, I think on the whole, if you're looking at fullbacks, I think the guy in the Brazilian league pack, I forget his name, Mateo Ponte, I think he's probably a bit better on the whole. For the Turkish League Challenge, if you want a very attacking fullback, he could do a job for you. Not brilliant on the ball, low passes. If he's definitely got a half decent cross on him, I'd love to pass at 82, and he's got pinpoint crossing. But yeah, defensively is the big concern as well. It's the biggest concern. So you got a few concerns with this guy. For the Turkish League Challenge, he could be a useful option. Maybe if you rock a Brazil squad and you don't have Roberto Carlos, he could be a decent option for that as well. But outside of that, I don't know. Could be handy for the Turkish League Challenge if you don't mind the weaknesses. But there are weaknesses there, and certainly outside of that Turkish League Challenge, unless you really need a left back option for your Brazilian squad, for things like divisions and, you know, for your strongest squad, I think the weaknesses with this guy, even for a 4-star contract, really hold him back, and I'm not sure he's really one I could recommend on the whole. Right, that's all the 4 stars in Turkey. Let's go to Japan, because we have got, I think these are all 4 stars. No, yeah, we've got 6 4 stars in here. Crikey, right. Let's start with this fella. So we've got Towa Yamane, or you could say tower, except he's only 167 centimeters tall, so he's not much of a tower at all. I'll get my coat. Yeah, this guy's teeny. He's a box-to-box. He's a right midfielder. He can play left midfield. He can play fullback on either side. He's not overly two-footed, so I'm not sure how comfortable he'll be on the left. Has he got outside curl? He does have outside curl. Okay, so you could get away with him on the left. Box-to-box will be active right mid and left. It won't be active right back or left back. And is he any good? Not brilliant. As a fullback, he's lacking defensively. He's physically very weak, and he doesn't have any defensive skills. As a winger, he's not great down the left-hand side. He's not going to be great on the ball. The attacking awareness is poor. Yeah, this isn't a brilliant looking card on the whole. It's the first time I've had a feature version of this guy. What they boosted from his GP card, they boosted his defensive ability, even though it's still not good enough for a fullback, certainly. His physical strength is up a bit. Low passes up a bit. Finishing's up a bit. That's about it. Outside of Super Sub, all the other skills are new. We've got some decent ones, to be fair. Acrobatic finishing, first time shot, through passing, outside curler, fighting spirit as well. But yeah, no defensive skills. I think fullback for this guy is completely out of the question. He cannot defend to save his life. So it's a question of, is he good enough on wide midfield for you? I don't know. Like I say, on the ball, he's not brilliant. To be honest, this doesn't look like a 4-star card. It is a 4-star card. There's no more 3 stars. They've done away with the 3 stars. They've kind of accepted that 3 stars are completely useless. But a lot of these 4 stars are pretty useless. And I think this is one of them because, like I say, it looks like a 3-star. And even if this was for a 3-star contract, I don't think I would consider it to be particularly good value. You've got a bit of pace, a bit of balance. What have you got apart from that? Not a lot. Yeah, I can't really recommend this guy at all. I don't think he's great on the ball. His passing is not great. Yes, he's got through passing. First time shot and acrobatic finishing, not long range curler would be nice though if you want to play him on the left, cutting inside into his right foot, but 72 finishing is not great regardless. Yeah, this guy's really not great. I'm not going to waste any more time on him. There's not a great deal to be said for him, whether it's fullback or wide midfield. I really don't think there's a great deal of value to be had from, unfortunately, even for a 4-star contract, even for the J-League Challenge. If you still go through the J-League Challenge, there are better GP cards you can use, to be honest. I've got better GP cards on my Japan account. So yeah, I mean, if you're desperate in the J-League, versatile, could fill in a few positions for you if you're really desperate, but I think you'd need to be desperate. This card from me, even for a 4-star contract and even for the J-League Challenge, it's not a great one. And next up is Erik Lima. He's got a face scan. He's normally a centre-forward goal poacher. He's got the same positions he normally does, but his registered positions changed to left wing forward. His playing style has changed to prolific winger. So there's good news and bad news. The good news is I've got a version of this guy and he's great. He feels lovely on the ball. The bad news is this version is not as good. So this isn't necessarily going to be a bad card to have, but certainly if you've got the version I have, which is a Showtime one, it's a really, really nice card. How much better is it than this one, though? It's quite a bit better. You've still got a bit of pace on him. He's decent on the ball. The awareness and finishing for wide band are decent. I think, to be fair, outside the J-League Challenge, this guy probably isn't going to really make the grade, but if you do get the J-League Challenge still, it could be a handy one to have. I don't think I would use him in his original position of centre forward. I don't think the awareness and finishing are high enough. I don't think his passing is going to be good enough to play him as a number 10 either at SS or AMF either. I think as a right footer, you're going to play him on the left rather than right, but in the registered position they've given him on this card, left wing forward as a right footer, prolific winger, playing style being active, I think he could be handy. I'd like a bit more speed on him. I'd like a bit more in a few areas, to be honest. On the ball, he's not that brilliant. But with it, like I say, with the qualities he does have, his dribbling's not too bad. The awareness and finishing are 80 plus before your game plan boost, and he's not the slowest. Could be a handy one. Has he got long range curler? No, that's a shame. Long range curler could have really sealed the deal for a 4-star contract. I think without long range curler, I'm not sure he's quite going to make it. But we do have some decent skills here. What have they added? What's new? Chip shot control, one touch pass, outside curler, and super sub. Could be a handy super sub, maybe. The only skill we've lost is penalty specialist. I think we can live without that. So yeah, some decent skills here. First time shot, long range shooting, accurate finishing. Through passing would have been nice. I had to put that on my one as well. And yeah, as a super sub, could be handy. Throw him one wide left, second half. Could be a decent one there. He does have quite a low center of gravity at 170. Not amazing bounce and not amazing attributes on the ball, but I would expect, even though mine does have much higher stat attributes, I would expect he's still going to feel fairly nippy on the ball with that height and the attributes he does have. We have had a few versions, not just the Showtime one that I've got. There's been a couple of other highlight versions which are a bit better, both wide left and centre forward. Not a massive difference though. Hard to compare him to his GP card because they've changed him from a striker to a wide man, so they've obviously given a slightly different kind of profile in terms of the attributes. But yeah, like I say, I think with this guy, you're looking at a guy that I don't think is that great for a 4-star contract, but he's going to feel reasonably nippy. He's got very good acceleration at least, even if the speed's not too great. And on the ball, he's not going to feel amazing, but those attributes are okay. And like I say, the awareness and the finishing, he does have first-time shot and long-range shooting, cutting off that left wing. He might not be too bad. I don't think I could go as far as to recommend him, but for the J-League challenge especially, and maybe if you rock a Brazil squad and you don't have too many kind of legends and kind of Showtime and beefy cards in that position wide left, he could be an option for that as well. On the whole though, especially outside the J-League challenge, I'm not sure it's quite going to make the grade, but if you've got 4-star contracts you need to use up and you're not looking at, you don't see many great options out with these cards, he might be one that's worth using the contract on, and you might find he's quite decent on the ball, quite nippy, and especially as a super sub, could be a handy one. But yeah, even for 4-star contract, not a bad card, but I don't think it's that great of a card. And next we have Ryoma Watanabe. He's become quite an important player for Urawa Reds. He's versatile. I've seen him play a few positions for them. And as you would expect on that basis, we've got a few positions. We've got right back, we've got right mid, left mid, centre mid, attacking mid. Got a face scan, of course, because he's Japanese. Pretty two-footed. That's handy. His weaker foot accuracy has actually been increased by 1. That's good. We've had a couple of highlight versions of this guy. Interestingly, they're both right midfield. One of them was a whole player, one was a creative playmaker, whereas he's a box-to-box centre mid these days. So those two previous ones are maybe slightly better, but really just kind of different profiles. Hard to really compare them directly to this one. In terms of how he's been boosted from his GP card, this Watanabe card, the right corner has been boosted mostly, and his awareness and finishing, that's pretty much it. I don't see anything else major that's changed from his GP card, except they have added a bunch of skills. They've added a long-range curler, long-range shooting, first-time shot. He's obviously scored a goal or two. I saw one of them, and he's a super sub. We've got another super sub, so yeah, certainly look at the skills. He's going to be a lot better going forward than defensively. There's nothing defensive. You're going to play him as a right back with no defensive skills, terrible defensive attributes, not a lot of physical strength. No, I think it'd be crazy to play him as a fullback. But as a midfielder, centre mid, right mid, left mid, he'll be box to box. Attacking mid, he won't have an active playing style. Is he going to be a good attacking mid for you though? 84 low pass. We don't have any passing skills there. Yeah, I don't think this guy's passing is really going to cut the mustard as an attacking midfielder or as a centre midfielder really. And as a centre midfielder box to box, you want a bit more defensively and physically. Right mid or left mid, not the quickest. It's dribbling 77. I don't want to sound too harsh, but I think we've got a similar situation to Towa Yamane, the first guy we looked at. I think he's better than Yamane, but in what position is this guy going to really do a good job for you? You got quite a few attributes in the 80s, but like, where is he good in any of the areas he needs to be? The pace and dribblings for a wide man just aren't there. The passing for a centre mid or attack mid just aren't really there. Defensively and physically, he's not really got what he needs as a right back. So, yeah, you got some good attacking skills there. He's a super sub. He's versatile. But beyond that, I can't really say much. He isn't even as an option for the J-League challenge. I think it's just another card where for the J-League challenge, as a versatile option, if you're really desperate for someone in any given position, could come in and do a job for you. He's not a terrible card. I just don't think he's particularly good in any position, and certainly outside of the J-League challenge. Even for a 4-star contract, I don't think this guy's really going to give a great deal of value to many people, to be honest. And we've got a couple of centre-backs in this pack. So we'll start with Yota Sato from Nagoya. He's about 6 foot tall. He's a build-up. Got a face scan, of course. And he's kind of looking okay. He's kind of looking like a fairly solid 4-star centre-back, but a solid 4-star centre-back is probably not what you're going to be looking for unless you really need centre-back options for the J-League Challenge. He's a build-up this time. He's normally an extra front man. We've had one highlight card of his that was had the extra front man playing style. Fairly similar ability overall, shuffled around a little bit. What they've boosted on this version compared to his GP card is what you'd expect from a trending centre-back, really, a player of the week or player of the month. They've really boosted his athleticism and his passing, and that's about it, really. And then skill-wise, all of his skills are new. So the previous highlight card and his GP card have no skills, but this time we've got heading and aerial superiority, and then we've got man marking, interception, acrobatic clearance. So we've only got 5 skills there. They are important ones. We've got most of the most important ones really for a centre-back, but we could really do with blocker, maybe fighting spirit. I think those are the 2 skills I've probably missed the most, but we've got most of the important ones there. So yeah, I think that's the story with this guy. You got most of what you need from a centre-back. He's very much a 4-star. He's just not quite a 5-star. He's not quite got the attributes. He's not quite got all the skills. I think for the J-League Challenge, he could be a solid option, to be honest. If your J-League squad is not too beefy, you've not got too many kind of showtimes or whatever, you've not got too many great options as a centre-back, then for the J-League Challenge, if you're lucky enough to still get to take part in that, I think it could be a solid option for a 4-star contract, but it's not an amazing one, really. Just kind of okay-ish, really. He's actually horrible on the ball. That's one thing to keep in mind. Those on-the-ball attributes are horrible. The passing, not too bad for a centre-back, but on the ball, yeah, don't keep hold of the ball for too long with this guy. But yeah, defensive attributes kind of okay-ish for a 4-star. Not brilliant, but not terrible. And likewise down the right-hand side, really. And then skill-wise, most of what you need just could do with 1 or 2 more. So yeah, in just about every area, this guy could do with being a bit better. So for that reason, I'm not sure I could really strongly recommend him. But if you really need centre-back options for your J-League squad, and if you do get to take part in that challenge still, then he could be worth using Monday 4-star contracts on. And we'll go straight to the other centre-back. So Naoki Hayashi, this guy is a destroyer. He's normally a build-up. He's been changed from a build-up to a destroyer. It's the first time I've had a feature version of him. And he's had a fairly decent boost across the board. But it's a similar situation really to Sato, who we just looked at. He's kind of very much a 4-star centre-back, just not really that great. Not quite as good as you'd want him to be, pretty much across the board, really. Nothing really terrible here. You know, the pace isn't terrible. The jumping and the physical. He's about 5'11", so not the tallest. Jumping 85. Has he got area superiority? Yes. All his skills are new. So again, all his skills have been added. Man marking, interception, blocker, heading and aerial. You've got most of the important ones, really. I would like acrobatic clearance, fighting spirit, but yeah, most of the important ones for a centre-back are there. I would say this guy on the whole is looking like he's slightly better than Sato, to be honest, as a centre-back. I don't think there's a lot of difference. Again, horrible on the ball. Dribbling 48. I mean, you're not going to be doing a lot of dribbling with these centre-backs, but it is still going to be a factor at certain points. So yeah, be very careful when you're in possession of the ball. This guy, the passing is not too bad for a centre-back. And yeah, to be honest, everything else not too bad. You know, kind of okay-ish down the middle with the core defensive attributes, jumping and physical, okay-ish, pace kind of okay. But again, I think that's pretty much the case. The same in both these centre-backs. They're very much 4-star centre-backs. They've got most of what they need, just not got everything they need. That's why they're not quite 5-stars. So again, I'm going to say the exact same thing. If you still get to take part in the J-League Challenge, you really need centre-back options. He could be a solid one to pick up. He could do it right for you. But beyond that, I can't say he's that great even for a 4-star. He's just kind of solid, really. But yeah, like I say, outside the J-League Challenge, I'm not sure he's really going to cut the mustard for many people. And our final 4-star from the J-League pack, we've got Kein Sato. He's a goal poacher centre forward. This guy is normally a right wing forward, and he's normally a prolific winger, but now he's a centre forward and goal poacher with this card. He's just back from Germany. He went to Germany quite young for a few years with Werder Bremen. He's back with FC Tokyo now in the J-League. Got a face scan. And yeah, they changed him from a winger to a centre forward, but this is a strange card because attacking awareness 79, finishing 78. That is not a centre forward for me. It's not what I want in my team. Even in the J-League Challenge, it's not going to really cut it with that awareness and finishing. But what about his original position out wide? Decent on the ball, decent pace. As a wide man, the awareness and finishing are suddenly decent. I think this guy as a wide man could be decent, actually. He's left-footed, keep that in mind, so I wouldn't put him on the left. 67 lofted pass, even with pinpoint crossing, 67 lofted. I'm not going to put this guy on the left and be putting crosses into the box. I'm going to be putting him wide right. So yeah, as a centre forward, sure, he got some pace, balance, good on the ball, but the awareness and finishing kill him for me as a striker. But wide right as a left foot, so cutting in onto his left foot, I think he suddenly looks quite decent for a 4-star contract, you know. The pace is decent on the ball, and like I say, the awareness and finishing are suddenly I'd say definitely high enough for a wide man. And then skill-wise, you've got long-range curler coming off that right flank onto his left foot, hitting those curlers. You've got first-line shot as well, one-touch pass, pinpoint crossing. Would be nice if we had through passing, but I think on the whole, long-range curler the big one for me, but first-time shot as well. One-touch pass will help. He's got trap back if you like that. Fighting spirit as well. I think as a right winger, as an inverted winger, left-footed, even though he won't have an active playing style there, I think there's quite a bit to be said for this guy as a 4-star. It's the first time I've had a feature version of him. That'd be because he's been in Germany, which obviously the Bundesliga is not licensed. So yeah, that's why we've not had a version of him previously. But yeah, all those skills are new for this guy. I don't think he's got any skills in his GP card. And as much as I don't rate him at all as a centre forward, and I wouldn't put him on the left as a left footer, I think playing this guy wide right without an active playing style, I'd like a little bit more speed, and I'd like a little bit more on the on-the-ball attributes, but only a little bit. I think we're okay with the speed and on the ball. I think we can certainly get away with that. I think his long-range curlers will be decent. He's got decent awareness for a wide man. I think coming off that right flank onto his left foot, he could be a decent card, this guy. I think for a 4-star contract, this is one of the better ones that we've got available to us this time around. So if you get the J-League change, like I say, as a centre forward or wide left, I don't rate him. But wide right as a left footer coming off the right flank, picking up a goal or two for you, you're going to have to be careful with his passing. But outside of that, I think he could be pretty handy, especially in that J-League change. But even outside the J-League change, maybe for your Japan squad, or even at a stretch outside of that, if you're new to the game, you don't have that many great options for inverted wingers on the right wing. I think for a 4-star contract, this guy could actually be pretty decent value. And there is one more 4-star to look at, and it is in this Elite Lineage pack. So Elite Lineage is our theme this time. I just pressed the wrong button because I'm an idiot. I got a contract expiring. Where are we? Right, let's press the correct button this time. So Elite Lineage, these are all brothers basically. We've got not just pairs, but sets of brothers. I'm going to start off with one of a trio of brothers. So we'll start with the Mac Allisters. And we have one 4-star, like I say. This is the last 4-star we're going to be looking at out of all these nominated contract players. And it is Francis Mac Allister. So it's the first time I've had a feature version of this guy. That's not a great surprise. He plays in the Argentinian league for whoever Alta Cordoba is supposed to be. So I'm going to say it straight away. We don't get an Argentinian league challenge. It's only a 4-star card. So I get the whole idea of having a cool theme of brothers or whatever, but why is this guy in? Just because his brother's good at football? This is a useless card. I've not even looked at him trained up yet. We'll do it in a second, but there's no league challenge to use him in. Is he going to be good enough to get in your Argentina squad? That's probably going to be a bit of a stretch, but yeah, I get the theme with the brothers, but I don't know. I'm not going to rant too much. I just looking at this card straight away. 4 stars, Argentinian league. What use are you going to have for him? No face scan. Not many skills. One touch pass, blocker, sliding tackle, fighting spirit. So yeah, we're lacking through passing. You can train these cards. We're onto the trainable ones now, onto highlights. So you can put skills on these guys, but you're going to waste skill trainers on this guy. Probably not, I guess. But let's jump over to eFootball Hub. We'll just have a look at how good he actually is. I might be proven wrong. Maybe he's half decent. But let's go to eFootball Hub. Right. So all maxed out, fully boosted up. Is he any good? He could be worse, to be fair. Depends how you're going to use him. He's an anchorman. Like I said, we've not had a feature version of him previously. In terms of the boost from his GP card, it's pretty mixed, really. Nothing really stands out. As you can see, though, we've got a few 90-plus attributes defensively. So with auto allocation, pretty strong defensively. They've gone to 13 on his defending. Outside of that is the passing. And you're going to be 88 lows, not too bad. He's got one-touch pass. Could do it through passing. If you're going through passing, I think his passing will be fine for a defensive mid. Defensively pretty strong, but he's not going to be too comfortable on the ball. He's a bit lacking in physical strength. Yeah, on the whole, to be fair, he's not too bad. He's a bit better than I expected for a 4-star, but still, if there's no Argentinian League challenge, is he good enough to get in your Argentina squad? Maybe. He might be. But outside of that, I mean, for most people's strongest squads, I don't think this guy's going to get a sniff. I don't think he's that great of a card. I think for a defensive midfielder, especially an anchorman, you need more physical strength. It's very important in the game these days. And he's not too comfortable on the ball. So yeah, there are qualities. I'm not going to just rant and be too negative about this guy. The passing is alright if you give him through passing. Defensively, certainly he's strong enough. But yeah, there are a few areas where I'd like it to be a bit stronger. And I guess that's why he's only a 4-star card. In terms of shuffling points around him, I don't think you could do a lot. I wouldn't want to lose too much off defensive attributes for an anchorman. Outside of that, you can't really afford to lose much. So I don't think I'd do much as a defensive mid. If you're going to move him further up the pitch as a centre mid, if you took a few points off there, bear in mind as a centre mid, there won't be an active playing style. Defensive mid is the only position where anchorman will be active for him. I'm going to go down to 4, see if we can actually make him decent as a centre mid. Get up to 80 for ball control, bit more dexterity, get more attacking awareness on him. Not looking too bad. Where would we put the rest of the points? We could get his passing up to 90, to be honest, and low pass at least. Maybe we'll just do that. Stick one more on aerial. Yeah, as a bit of an all-rounder centre mid, he could be alright, to be fair. He could be decent. You would still need to give him some skills, though. I mean, especially as a defensive mid, you've got blocker, but you need interception, I think, man marking as well, maybe aerial superiority. As a centre mid, through passing, very important, and interception. Those are the two I'd start with. Just those two you can get away with, but maybe you want to give him some more, maybe 1 or 2 shooting skills, maybe outside curler. He's reasonably two-footed, though. But yeah, through passing and interception, very important on centre mid, but you can make him reasonable. You can make him a half-decent all-rounder of a centre mid, not a brilliant one, though. Like I say, he's very much a 4-star card. I don't know if you can make much of an attacking mid. You could position training for attacking mid, but there's not many points to spare from the defensive area to really make him better going forward. I mean, that's about all you can do really as an attacking mid. No, I don't think many people will get much value out of this guy as an attacking mid. Don't think that's worth doing. As a wide man, you can make him a right mid, you can make him a left mid. But again, though, where are you going to take the points away? I guess passing. Passing not as important out wide. But is it really worth doing this? I don't think it is. You can't make him quick enough. You can't make him great on the ball. Wide midfield, yeah, it's out of the question really. He's not going to be good enough there. You've got right back. You could position training for right back. Again, though, I mean, defensively pretty strong. Down the left, all right. Pace, a bit iffy. To be fair, at a stretch, you could do a job for you as a right back, but I don't know. It's a bit much. Again, you'd need to give him a couple of skills there. And is he really good enough overall to be a right back? I don't know. It doesn't really excite me. He needs a bit more pace. I'd like it to be a bit better on the ball. So, yeah, I don't know. I think his best position is definitely his main position of defensive midfield. And he's very much a 4-star card. You can make him half decent, to be fair. He's a bit better than I expected him to be. But, yeah, strong defensively, but lacking a bit in physical strength. Not great on the ball. He needs a few skills as well. And like I said at the start, this guy's for, he's from the Argentinian league. So what are you going to use him for? There's no league challenge to use him in. Is he going to be good enough for your squad for divisions and so on? Highly unlikely. Do you rock an Argentina squad? Maybe for that, he could be an option for you. And maybe for a bit of fun if you're a big fan of Alexis Mac Allister, maybe you're a fan of Brighton or more likely Liverpool, you might want to sign both his brothers and put them all in the team together for a bit of fun. I don't know, but yeah, ultimately there might be a few people who can get some use out of this guy. He's not as bad as I thought he'd be, but still for a 4-star contract, primarily because there's no league challenge you can use him in. I'm not sure there's a great deal of use that people will be able to get out of this guy really. So out of all the 4-star cards, it might seem a little bit harsh, but I'm only going to recommend 2. I think, to be fair, there are quite a few cards that are kind of all right. There's 1 or 2 other decent ones in there, but these are the only 2 for me that I think I'd recommend. It might seem harsh to recommend Ponte as the attacking right back from Brazil and not Guilherme, the attacking left back from Turkey. But I just think on the whole, Ponte's got that little bit more about him. He's not going to be great on the ball, so be careful when you're in possession with him, but he's got some very decent attributes. I think for an attacking fullback, he's actually a pretty reasonable option for a 4-star contract. I think Sato as a centre forward is not very good, but you can play him wide right. He's a left foot. If you play him on the right as a left foot, as a cutting inside, I think he's got some very decent attributes. He's got long range curler, which is an important one. I think as an inverted wing, come off the right wing onto his left foot, it could be very handy, especially for the J-League challenge. But even outside of it, I think for me personally, this is the best value 4-star that we've got out of all the current ones. But like I said, I think Ponte could be a decent option as well for a 4-star contract. But like I say, it may seem harsh, and there are 1 or 2 other ones that look half decent as well. But for me personally, out of all the 4-stars available this time around, I think Ponte could be a decent one. I think Sato especially could be a very decent, could be very decent value for a 4-star contract. These 2 for me are the 2 that I think personally are the best value for a 4-star contract this time around. Now on to the 5 stars. We've got a few 5 stars in Brazil and Turkey. So let's start with Brazil again. And here we've got 2 5 stars. We've got 2 5 stars. Okay, let's start with this guy. Let's start with Bruno Henrique. So we have had 2 highlight cards of this guy previously. Both go to a similar level. Not a massive difference, but you can train those cards. I'm not sure if his GP card's correct on eFootball Hub, but it looks like they've nerfed his defensive attributes a bit from his GP card. The left and right columns are looking a bit better though. He's got a face scan before I forget. He's a box-to-box defensive mid, and that playing style is going to be active in his other position, centre mid, so you can use him as a defensive mid or a centre mid. Unwavering form as well. Skill-wise, they've added first-time shot, through passing and interception. So we've got some most of the important skills really from midfielder. I think as a defensive mid, certainly he's lacking one or two. Interception, a very important one, but he could do a blocker and man marking as a defensive mid. Could do with one-touch pass as well in either of his positions, but he does have through passing, which is a very, very important one for any kind of midfielder. Weighted pass and low-lofted pass as well. And anytime he gets forward and he's in a position to get a shot away, rising shot, long range shooting, first-time shot will help. Finishing 75 is not too bad for a midfielder, to be fair. But yeah, on the whole, he's not great on the ball. Low pass 85, even with through passing. Defensively, depends whether you're playing with defensive mid or centre mid. For a defensive mid, for some people that'll be enough. For others, I'm not sure. Depends on what kind of midfield shape you've got, how much defensive responsibility you want to give him. But then down the right hand side, not the quickest. Balance is not great. So yeah, I'm not sure about this guy. Again, it's one of these cards. Do you still get to do the Brazilian League challenge? Because if you do, he could do a job for you. He could be all right. But to be honest, is this a 5-star card? I just don't think so. It's like the fellow in the Japanese pack, the J-League pack. I just don't think he looks that good as he's supposed to be. He doesn't look like a 5-star to me. I don't see anything about this guy that screams 5-star as a defensive mid or a centre midfielder. He's got some of the most important skills, but not all of them. He still needs a few skills. You can't put skills on his cards, obviously. As an out-and-out defensive midfielder, I don't think he's quite strong enough defensively. As a centre mid, as more of an all-rounder, I'd like him to be a lot more comfortable on the ball and have better passing and have the one-touch passing skill as well, and the balance is horrible. So yeah, he got some decent attributes, but to be honest, I'm not going to spend any more time talking about this guy. If you still got the Brazilian League challenge for a 5-star contract, if you're really desperate for someone to use a 5-star contract on and no one else appeals to you for some reason, then I guess he could be an option for you. But honestly, for a 5-star contract, this guy does not look like a particularly good card to me. And we have a 5-star goalie from the Brazilian League. We've got João Ricardo. He's an attacking goalie. He does not have a face scan. He's about 6'2". And he's got unwavering form as well. And it's not the first version we've had of this guy. We had a version of him, I think it was last season, a Player of the Month version of him. And that was very similar to this card, to be honest. He just had 2 less on reflexes and 4 less on reach. Apart from that, pretty much the same card, really. So yeah, he's had a couple of attributes, and they are important attributes, to be fair, boosted. So it is an upgrade on that basis from his previous one. But yeah, for a 5-star, is he great for a 5-star goalie? I mean, 6'2", arm coverage is about 170 centimeters. So coverage wise, he's kind of okay. The awareness just needs 1 more point to be able to hit 90 with the maximum game plan boost. So he's kind of decent, but maybe he's not quite as high as I'd like. Catching and powering are not great. Reflexes, again, you're going to hit the 90 mark there, so you're kind of around the mark you want. So you got some good attributes there, 1 or 2, but you got a couple of iffy ones. I don't know. For a 5-star contract, I don't know. If you get the Brazilian League Challenge, you're really lacking goalkeeper options for the Brazilian League Challenge. Yeah, he could be a solid option for that, to be fair. Or if you like to rock a Brazil squad in the national team challenge, you don't have many goalkeeper options for that. Could definitely be a good option in that case as well. So in a couple of cases, I think it could be a very usable option. It could be one that could give you decent value. But outside of that, for a 5-star contract, is this guy good for a 5-star contract? He's not brilliant. He's not terrible. But just on the whole, I mean, the catching and paying aren't great. I'd like a little bit more on the awareness. There's no low punt. Oh, he does have low punt. My bad. He does have low punt. So yeah, there are a few things to be said from him. Distribution's not too bad. He's got some decent attributes, but for a 5-star contract, if you need options for your Brazilian League squad or for your Brazil squad, he could be a solid one to pick up if you got the 5-star contracts to spare. But outside of that, I don't think for a 5-star contract is that great of a goalie, to be honest, on the whole. So let's now head to the Turkish League, because we've got some 5-stars in here. We've got 3 5-stars in here. Let's start with this first fella. So let's start with Frankowski. And I'm glad that they've abbreviated his first name to P, because that means I don't have to try and pronounce Przemysław, because I would have done a terrible job and that would have been really embarrassing. So yeah, Frankowski, attacking fullback. He's Polish. He's got a face scan. He can play as a wide midfielder. He's normally a wide midfielder, actually. He's normally a right midfielder with a cross specialist playing style. They've changed him to a right back and they've made him an attacking fullback for this card. There's been one previous highlight version of him, and that was a right midfielder cross specialist. And to be honest, as a right midfielder, fairly similar to this one, to be honest, not a massive difference. This one's a bit better as a right back though. And from his GP card, they've obviously changed his position and stuff in his whole kind of profile, so it's hard to do a direct comparison really. But this card is better both as a winger and a fullback. Skill-wise, they have made a few changes here, some important ones. They've added pinpoint crossing, important going forward on attacking fullback. They've also added man marking and interception. He's a super sub. If you want a super sub fullback, great. But super sub, as we know pretty much for sure now, only really boosts a couple of attacking attributes, so it's not going to make a great deal of difference on a defensive player, albeit you can play him as a winger. He's got fighting spirit as well. It's a good one to have in any position. Long range curler. He's a right footer, so it's only really going to come into play when you play him left midfield if you fancy playing him there. Would you play him as a left midfielder? Not great on the ball. No, I don't know. I mean, he's got long range curler. You could probably do worse, but I think left midfield only if it's for the Turkish League Challenge and you're really desperate for an option there. But outside of that, he's really not brilliant as a winger. He does have good pace though, good stamina, but I think this guy is very much an attacking fullback. I think with what they've done with this guy, the way they've kind of, the way they've set his attributes and stuff, he might be able to do a job as a winger. He's going to have a decent cross up with pinpoint crossing and 83 lofted, but pace, stamina, half decent defensive attributes for an attacking fullback. And he's not too bad here for fullback down the left as well. So I think you've got a pretty solid looking attacking fullback here, to be honest. I think there's quite a bit to be said for him. I think for the Turkish League Challenge, if you still get to take part in that, I think he's a very good right back for that. So on that basis, if you do get to do the Turkish League Challenge, and if there's no other players that if you're looking for someone to use one of your 5 stars on, then he could give you pretty decent value for that challenge. Outside of that, if you rock a Poland squad, could be a very solid option. But then for your strongest squad for divisions and so on, I don't know. I think it's borderline. I think there's a lot to be said for him. I think down the right hand side, I would like a bit more balance. But apart from that, for an attacking fullback, I think he's just about on the mark. Down the middle there, the defensive awareness is a bit of a concern. He's not overly aggressive. That would concern some people. So defensively on the whole, yes, they've given him 2 very important skills, man marking, interception. But I'd say defensively there's a slight question mark on him. And then down the left, he could be a bit better on the ball. Tight possession 73 is not brilliant. I do personally notice that if the tight possession is too low. And then low pass 75, he's not got one touch pass or through passing, so you're going to have to be careful with his passing as well. So there are qualities with this guy. I don't think he's got quite enough going forward to be good on the wing, albeit with the pace in his crossing. You could put him on the right and get some crosses in if that's the way you play. He could do a job for you. Maybe as a wing back, if you play with wing backs 3-4-3 or 3-5-2 type of formation, as a wing back, he could do a job for you. He's got a bit of defensive ability, pace, stamina, got a cross on him. So definitely a wing back option. But as a fullback, yeah, Turkish League Challenge or a Poland squad could be a very solid one. Outside of that, he definitely could do a job for you. I think he could give you decent value for a 5-star, but if you compare him to the other 5-star options that we've got this time around, and just in general comparing it to other 5-star right backs, I'm not sure for a 5-star nominated contract he's going to give you that great value, but you certainly could do worse. I think he could be a solid attacking right back. And next we have Josip Brekalo, creative playmaker. He is normally a prolific winger, and he's normally a left wing forward, but they changed it to attacking midfield and they've added attacking midfield as a position. That's a new position for him. He's got a face scan, Croatian. There was actually one previous version of this guy when he was at Fiorentina. It was a nominated contract card, and I was actually quite close to getting that one. He was I remember the one thing with that card is his dribbling was really good. I think when you auto allocate that card, fully boosted, I think he's like 96 for dribbling or something. But yeah, apart from that way better dribbling, this card does make up for it elsewhere. Yeah, I think this card's probably a bit better on the whole. Just doesn't quite have the dribbling, but he's still got good dribbling. Still going to hit the 90 mark with the maximum game plan boost. He's pretty tidy on the ball, this guy. The passing, 83 low pass, 76 lofted. Have you got any passing skills? No, that's a shame. So the passing attributes certainly are decent for a wide man. I say for a wide man though, they have changed it to attacking midfielder. I got a bit confused for a second there, but yeah, I think it's another one of these cards. There's been a few of them I've been looking at today. An attacking midfielder with 83 low pass, no through passing, absolutely not. I don't think his passing is good enough to play through the middle. As an SS just behind the attack, maybe if you're going to focus more on shooting. But he's a creative playmaker. He's not going to be making too many attacking runs, so I don't know how well suited he'd be to playing just behind the attack there with his passing not being better and not having through passing. But I think wide left in his normal position though, it could be pretty handy. Decent pace, good balance, pretty good on the ball. Awareness and finishing are pretty decent for a wide man. The passing, even without one touch pass or through passing, the attributes are decent. I think wide left could be where this guy's going to be best. He can be pretty handy there. It's his end product that's had the biggest boost from his GP card. And skill-wise, all they've done is they've taken away Scotch move and they've given him soul control. So yeah, not quite got the 3 for the ball roll double touch, but he got double touch. He got soul control, cut behind and turn. Long range curler is a good one. He's a right footer coming off the left flank onto his right foot with long range curler. That's an important skill to have. Long range shooting as well, and first time shot. So he's all about shooting, not passing. This guy clearly is a super sub as well. I think this guy is decent, to be honest, for a 5-star. I think at least for the Turkish League Challenge. If you get the Turkish League Challenge, if you're looking at this guy, I think for the Turkish League Challenge, this guy could be one of the better options that you're likely to be able to pick up unless you spin one of the Showtime packs that they've been doing. I think he's got a lot of quality. For a wide man, I'd like a little bit more speed, but 85 is not too bad. You're in +3 territory. Acceleration and balance are both hitting the 90 mark with your game plan boost. Got a bit of kicking power behind his shots. The finishing and curl are both hitting the 80 mark with your game plan boost, as is attacking awareness. Tidy on the ball. Doesn't have through passing, a bit of a shame, but certainly 83 low pass for a wide man's decent. So yeah, I'll say there's plenty to be said for this guy. For the Turkish League Challenge, it could be a very tidy option. If you rock a Croatia squad, I think it could be pretty handy. I don't know if there are that many great options for wingers from Croatia. But even outside of that, for divisions and so on, for your main squad, obviously if you get a lot of, if you pick up a lot of kind of legends and Showtime cards, he's probably not going to be quite at the required level for you. But outside of that, especially for kind of free-to-play players and for anyone who doesn't pick up too many legends and so on, I think he's pretty tidy. He's got a bit of pace, balance, deep, pretty tidy on the ball. His passing is not too bad for a wide man, even without through passing, and the awareness and finishing with the shooting skills he's got. And he's a super sub as well. I think this guy could be handy. I think, to be fair, out of all the 5-stars, this is a reasonable option, this guy. So yeah, especially for the Turkish League Challenge, but even outside of it, for a 5-star contract, I think this guy could represent decent value. And finally from Turkey, we have Filip Kostić. So he has got his regular playing style. He's always been a cross specialist, and this guy is, I don't want to say one-dimensional, but it's pretty clear what this guy's all about. He's always been the same. He's a left footer on the left wing, and he just wants to get up and down that left wing and whip crosses in, and he does that very effectively. I've had his GP card since the very early days. He was one of my left wing options from right at the beginning, and he was always very effective for me. He's always felt slightly clunky. I think the thing with that is his balance isn't great, his tight possession isn't great. So that's something that I do personally, based on my personal experience, you would notice. But he is tidy enough on the ball. He's not always quite as good as this on the ball, to be fair. One or two previous versions not so good quite so good on the ball. But yeah, the one thing with this guy, he's got a bit of pace, and it's the crossing. That's the one thing with this guy. A lot of people are spamming crosses at the moment. If that's the way you're playing, you're putting a lot of crosses in for your big man. 88 lofted, 85 curl, 87 kicking power before your game plan boost. Of course, he's got pinpoint crossing. This guy from the left, I can tell you from personal experience, he's very effective. He's got a really good cross on him. It feels like he's got something about him with his crossing beyond his attributes, to be honest. That's probably just a placebo, but yeah, honestly, like I say from experience, if you want a left-footed left winger to be able to put some crosses in for you, this guy could really be a decent option for a 5-star contract. Got a face scan, obviously. He's not got unwavering form, unfortunately. Again, this is from the Turkish League pack, so outside the Turkish League challenge, you're looking at divisions and so on. But I do think even outside of the Turkish League challenge, if you still get the Turkish League challenge, could be a fantastic option if he suits the way you play. But outside of that, I do think with his crossing, if you like this kind of a player, if he does suit your, the way you're playing the game, and it's pretty obvious what that means if he's spamming crosses, I think it could be a decent option for a 5-star. We've had quite a few versions of Kostić previously. We've had a couple of Player of the Week versions when it's at Juve, fairly similar to this one, to be honest. We've had a whole bunch of highlight cards. We had a few that's slightly better than this one, to be honest, but not a huge difference, really. Just if the ones that are slightly better, it tends to be a bit more speed and a bit more kicking power. But one thing that can be said for this one, it's got quite decent physical contact. That's hitting 80 with the game plan boost. That's something worth keeping in mind. The balance isn't brilliant. He's not amazing on the ball, but he's quite physically strong, and that is important in the game these days. If you look at his GP card, they've not really done that much with his physical contact. I think they've just boosted that on his GP card at some point. They made him a bit stronger, and probably the last time they've updated his GP card, really. What they boosted the most, they've not really boosted much more than anything else, really. It's a pretty decent boost across the board. We've lost a bit of stamina and kicking power, but he's still at 87, which means he'll still be able to hit 90 with the maximum game plan boost on those. And then skill-wise, not a lot of changes in terms of quantity, but in terms of quality, I think we're looking good, because they've only taken away chop turn. That's not a big loss. they're giving him one touch pass and through passing. So good additions there. You got long range shooting. Obviously, you've got pinpoint crossing, as I mentioned. You got outside curler. Interesting. I think, yeah, I think this is a good version of Kostić. For me personally, there's been 1 or 2 packs where I've been quite tempted to spin for Kostić. But it's always either been maybe the legend box where I just didn't really want the legends, or maybe it's a league pack where there weren't enough cards in there that I wanted. So I've always kind of held off and just thought, okay, I'll get another option to get him at some point. And then he's obviously ended up going to Turkey, and I've been kind of waiting for it to get a Fenerbahce version of this guy. And now finally I'm going to get one, because I've still only got my GP version. So this for me, I think I'm almost certainly going to get this guy. Yes, you've got quite a few 5-star options to use your contracts on, but for me personally, I've got 5 to use, and like I say, from personal experience, if I do ever like to kind of spam some crossing, which I've not really done for quite a while, but I do still do it now and then, this guy for me, I think is going to be a very nice option. You know, he's not got electric pace, he's not amazing on the ball, and the balance isn't amazing, the attacking awareness isn't amazing. There are a few attributes that aren't so great, and a cross specialist is not going to be for everyone. You know, if you don't want to be spamming crosses, then I think you might as well just look away and skip to the next bit, because he's clearly not going to have quite the profile that you were looking for. But if you do like playing that way, like I say, from personal experience, the fact this is a highlight card, they're giving him one touch pass and through passing, it's a decent version of him. I think even for a 5-star contract, and even outside of the Turkish League Challenge, this for me, as a cross spam on the left hand side, he's got a devilish cross on him with his left foot. I think if he suits you, the profile he's got, it could be well worth picking up potentially. And just to briefly touch on left back, he's got left back because obviously Jose Mourinho's been playing him there for some reason. Can he defend? No. Has he got the defensive skills? No. So yeah, I think you can forget about left back. But as a left winger, like I say, cross specialist playing style, you're going to hug the touchline. You're going to constantly look to get into a position to cross the ball. When it comes to giving him the ball, and when he's in those positions to put crosses in, he's going to be very, very good at it. So yeah, he's not amazing everywhere. A few attributes I'd like to be a bit higher. But on the whole, for what he's good at, which is primarily the crossing, the fact they've also thrown in one touch pass and through passing, and he's got that bit of physical strength about him as well, I think there's quite a bit to be said for him. So if his profile works for you, and if he fits in with the way you play, I think he might be well worth considering for a 5-star contract, to be honest. So that's all your Player of the Month 5 stars, and now we're going to go to the Elite Lineage for the rest of the 5 stars. So back to the brothers. And let's go to our next Mac Allister. We'll start with Francis Mac Allister. And now let's next go to Kevin Mac Allister. So this is the second of 3 Mac Allisters that we're looking at. This one is a right back. He's a fullback finisher. He's also got centre back. He does not have a face scan. Or does he? No. So Kevin Mac Allister, right back. First time I've had a feature version of him. He's had a mixed boost from his GP card. We'll get onto the eFootball in a second, train him up. He's got a few skills. Interception, probably the most important one on the fullback. Certainly one of them. Could do it a bit going forward, maybe some passing or maybe pinpoint crossing. But yeah, certainly defensively got 1 or 2 there. But you're going to need to put a few skills on him. But yeah, let's jump over to the eFootball Hub. Let's see how good this Mac Allister card is. He's a 5-star. And to be fair, he's not too bad. As a fullback finisher, with that playing style, he's going to be not just getting forward a lot, he's going to drift inside and get involved in the midfield. He'll pop around the edge of the penalty area as well at times. So you're going to want him to be a bit more comfortable on the ball. That's a bit of a concern. Low pass 80's all right, though. Defensively, he's sound. Down the right-hand side, everything's looking pretty sound, to be honest. I think most of you, if you've been watching my videos, you know what I'm going to do with the fullback. I don't think you need that much on the lower body. And they have gone up to 14 on lower body as well. So if you take just those 2 last increases away, 8 points. To be honest, I'd personally be inclined to just go straight on dribbling, get him up to 80 for ball control and tight possession there. I personally think that's probably what you need to do. That's all I think that's all I would do. And then it would just come down to the skills. I think if you gave him, if you're going to use this guy a lot, if you gave him one touch pass, through passing, man marking, blocker, maybe he's outside curler, I think he'd be pretty well equipped. He could be a pretty handy fullback finisher, to be honest, if you don't mind that playing style. There's obviously one concern with this card, though. I said the same with the first Mac Allister we looked at, and with some other cards in this out of all this. It comes down to the league challenge. We don't get a Belgian league challenge, so what are you going to use this guy for? You're only going to use this guy for an Argentina squad or in divisions, basically, or for some kind of theme squad. You know, if you're going to get all the Mac Allisters, play them all together for a laugh, maybe you could do that. I mean, he certainly could do a job for you, but There's no Belgian league challenge, so it's another one of these cards where, you know, what's the point? How much value are you gonna get for a 5-star contract on a card that you've not got a lot of use for in terms of the modes that you can use him in? It's a frustration, really, but like I say, though, with the attributes, he does look solid. There's plenty to be said for this guy. And to be fair, outside of league challenges for divisions, he could do a job for you. He could well be good enough for you. It just depends on what options you've got. If you do what I just done there, make him a bit more comfortable on the ball when you keep in mind that playing style. And if you do give him a few skills, whether or not it's worth putting skills on this player, that's entirely up to you. For me personally, I'd say probably not, but if you do like a fullback finisher, maybe it will be worth it for you because the attributes are decent. I think for a fullback finisher, he could do a decent job for you. It's not a bad one. Just like I say, with no league challenge, I think it does limit the value people are going to get out of him. But yeah, as a right back, if you like the playing style, if you put the skills on him, and like I say, for me personally, if you shuffle a few points around, make him a bit more comfortable on the ball for someone who's going to be getting involved in the midfield quite a bit, he could be a handy one. It's just one or two ifs there. In terms of other positions, can you make him a right midfielder? We'll just go to auto allocation. Not for me. Not great on the ball. I don't think he offers enough going forward to be a right midfielder, really. Centre-back, can you make him a sneaky centre-back? Not really. Defensively, he looks strong enough. Down the left, nice for a centre-back. On the right, pace is decent, but it's when you get here that he's not going to really make the grade, is he? 80 physical contact is absolutely not good enough for a centre-back. You need to put a whole bunch of skills on him as well. For me, as a centre-back, that's not going to happen. So, yeah, I think you're looking at this guy as a right-back. Whether you go with the auto allocation, you leave him without any extra skills, you could get away with him for sure. But as I did, just to do it again briefly, I think it's well worth making him a bit more comfortable on the ball. And you would need to put a bunch of skills on him. I would recommend some passing skills, especially one-touch passing, through passing, because he will be drifting into the middle of the park quite a bit. If you gave him the skills, and however you train him, I think as a fullback finisher, if that playing style works for you, could do a job. Could be a decent card to pick up. But it's that lack of a lead challenge that kind of spoils him a bit. I'll just quickly do a more of a defensive build, actually. If you like a real defensive fullback, because he does have some half decent defensive attributes. How good could we make him as a defensive fullback? Give him a bit more physical strength. Yeah, I don't know. If you're going to use a real defensive fullback, I'm not sure he's going to be as good as the other options you're likely to have, to be honest. You could make him decent there, put the defensive instruction on him, but yeah, not as impressive as with his auto allocation as a fullback finisher. So yeah, I'll shuffle the points like I did, and he does need a few skills, but he could definitely do a job for a lot of people if you like the fullback finisher playing style on your right backs. But like I say, the one big drawback with this card is that it's the no Belgian league change, so that does devalue the card quite a bit. But to be fair, looking at it in isolation, just in terms of the ability, maybe he needs a few skills, needs a few points shuffled around. But if you like the fullback finisher playing style, he might not be a bad option for a 5-star contract, to be fair. Let's move on to the Timbers next. We've got two Timbers, and we'll start with Quinten. So he's at Feyenoord. He's the brother of Jurriën Timber, who plays for Arsenal. Box-to-box centre midfielder. Got a decent session skills here, one touch and through, but nothing really defensively. So for a box-to-box, we would need that. And also if you play him as a right-back, because you've got right-back as a position as well, you're going to need some defensive skills on him. But certainly when he gets on the ball with the passing, pretty well equipped skill-wise. But let's just jump straight over to eFootball Hub. Let's train him up. Let's see how good he is. He's decent, not amazing. We've had a few versions of Quinten Timber at this point. I've had a couple of Player of the Week cards, fairly similar overall, but the stats kind of shuffle around a bit. Certainly the more recent ones similar to this anyways. There was a nominating contract version of a long time ago. That was a 3-star, so it's not on the same level as this one, not as good. If you're looking at the recent Netherlands pack, the version of them that was in that one, very, very similar, to be honest. A very similar card on the whole. So if you got that one, you don't need this one. And he's had a pretty mixed boost from his GP card, really. Dribbling's had the biggest boost, really, but it's really quite a mixed boost. And yeah, it's a solid looking card overall, not an amazing one. Again, do you get we don't get a Dutch league challenge, so lack of a league challenge is another one of these cards. How much use are you going to get out of him? If you're an Arsenal fan or an Ajax fan, you really love Jurriën Timber. Well, I mean, if it has an Ajax fan, he probably won't because he plays for Feyenoord. But yeah, if you want to do a squad full of brothers, maybe it'd be quite fun to put him in your squad with Jurriën Timber. But outside of that, is he on the kind of level that you want for a player to put in your squad for divisions and stuff, your full strength squad? I don't think he would be, unless you're very new to the game. It's not an amazing looking card. You can nick a couple of points of passing maybes, get his tackling up to 80, stick a couple on physical contact. He could do a job as a box-to-box centre mid, as an all-rounder, but he's just not amazing looking to me. He's not that strong defensively. He's not brilliant on the ball. He's all right on the ball, to be fair. But the attacking awareness is not great. Defensive awareness isn't even that brilliant. It needs a bit more balance, really. So yeah, there's plenty of attributes that are decent, to be honest. There's quite a few that meet the mark just about, but there's nothing really amazing about him. He would need 1 or 2 skills, at least interception, to play centre mid. If you play him in defensive mid, he definitely needs some defensive skills. Interception, maybe his man marking blocker. Can you play him as a right back? Yeah, you could. Not too bad, not too bad. Again, defensively, is he strong enough? The awareness and engagement aren't great. And he desperately needs a bunch of defensive skills. So he could do a job for you as a right back. I don't think it looks too amazing. Won't have an active playing style there. But yeah, I think similar to centre midfield, really, you can kind of do a job there. It just doesn't look amazing. As a defensive mid, let's see what the auto allocation says defensively. Can you make him strong defensively? Not really. I mean, he's not many miles from his auto allocation. I've taken some points from the technical ones on the left there. Bit stronger defensively, but it still doesn't look too great. I think really the best use you're going to get out of this guy is as a centre mid. He needs 1 or 2 skills then, and he could be a decent option for you, but I don't think he's any better than a decent option. Is he worth using a 5-star contract on? I don't think so. It's not a bad card, but it's just not a particularly good one in my opinion. You could you use him as an attacking mid? I seem to remember training the Netherlands pack one as an attacking mid, and he looked all right. Yeah, he's all right as an attacking mid, so that's taking all the points off defending and aerial. Yeah, but is it worth it? I don't know. You need the skill position trains to make him an attacking mid. I don't personally think it's worth it. Yes, he's quite good on the ball, quite decent passing, but yeah, all things considered, attacking midfielder, not worth it for me. One other position he does have, centre back. Could you make this guy a sneaky centre back? I doubt it. Not really. Defensively, not great. Physical strength, not great. Yeah. I think with this card, you're looking at centre midfield and right back as his best positions. Either as a centre mid or a right back, he could be a decent option for you, but no, there's no Dutch League challenge, so there's limited use for him, and he's only really decent in a couple of positions. So is that really enough for you to part with one of your 5-star contracts for him? Is that going to give you value for a 5-star contract? Maybe it would, but I think for the vast majority of people, it sadly wouldn't. It's not the most exciting card for a 5-star for me. Slightly different story with his brother though. So we've also got Jurriën Timber, who plays for Arsenal. So at first glance you're thinking, okay, we had a bunch of versions of Timber, maybe we don't really need another one, but this is the first highlight card we've had of Timber that's a right back. We've had a couple of right back versions from Player of the Week, but we've not had a trainable right back version, and that's pretty key with this card. So he's a fullback finisher, he's got a face scan of course, unwavering form. Skill wise, we've got some pretty decent skills here, one touch pass and weighted pass going forward. As a fullback finisher, maybe it's through passing and pinpoint crossing would be the two you look to put on him, but defensively I don't think you really need a lot, because you've got man marking, insertion, blocker, slide and tag, right clearance, fighting spirit. Maybe you could put aerial superiority on him. I don't know if he really desperately needs that as a right back, but certainly defensively pretty well equipped. And like I say, going forward, one touch and weighted are good. Through passing and maybe pinpoint crossing would help. But let's just jump over to eFootball. We're going to see how good this card actually is. So you max him out, all boosted up. He's pretty solid. He's pretty solid looking, so the pace is pretty decent. He's got some decent physical strength on him. Balance isn't amazing, but it's not too bad. Very good stamina. He's strong defensively there. Awareness, engagement, tackling, all in the high 80s. He's comfortable on the ball for fullback. His low pass is decent. I mentioned maybe he's put a pinpoint crossing on him, but his lofted pass is only 74 when they put 4 points on there. I don't think it's worth putting more points on there to get his crossing any better. Even if you gave him pinpoint crossing, it wouldn't be great. So I would try to focus on just playing the ball on the ground with this guy. He does have a decent low pass attribute. So yeah, I think on the whole, as a fullback finisher, this is looking like a fairly tidy card. You can shuffle the points around a bit if you wanted to, but I don't think you really need to do a great deal. If you're really spamming a lot of crosses, then you might consider that you need more points on lofted pass. But I think, to be honest, for the points that you would need to do that, it wouldn't be worth it. He's not going to be great at crossing, but that's the only real weakness. Balance is a little bit low, but like I say, it's not too bad. He does have some physical strength on him. He is fairly comfortable on the ball. He can pass the ball, and yeah, defensively strong, bit of physical strength, pace, stamina. He looks like a good right back. Just come down to that playing style, like with one of the Mac Allisters. If you like the fullback finisher playing style, it could be a very tidy right back option for you. If you don't like that playing style, you prefer a defensive fullback, you can put the defensive instruction on him, and that'll hold him back. And yeah, it could be a very decent defensive fullback. So yeah, I like the look of this card. Like I say, there's been a couple of right back versions of him. They're both Player of the Week cards. There's also a centre back version. The two right back ones are fairly similar overall, to be honest, but you can't train them, you can't put skills on them. The other Player of the Week card I've had of Timber, is a centre back destroyer from when he was at Ajax. It's a different profile on that card. It's not quite as good as this one. regardless in any position really. In terms of trainables, as I mentioned, they're all centre-back and they're all extra front man. And this card is better as a right-back and is also better as a centre-back than all those cards. So we're going to train him as a centre-back now. So as you can see, he's obviously not the tallest, 179 centimetres. So if your opponent's spamming crosses, get someone else at centre-back because he's not going to be able to deal with them in the air. But defensively, there you see the awareness, the engagement, the tackling, mid-90s. Got very good pace for a centre-back. He's very tidy on the ball for a centre-back. Just a slight concern over his physical contact rate and the aerial ability, but you can easily just take 3 points from defending there. And then you've got 12 to play with. Stick them all straight on aerial. Bang. Yes, he's not going to be great in the air. As you see down here, the jumping height, 268. It's not disastrously bad, but he's not going to be able to deal with the real big strikers. If your opponent's got players like Kola, Luka, Showtime Nunez, you don't want this guy at centre-back. But if your opponent's strikers are smaller, quicker strikers, maybe it's Romario, maybe it's, I don't know, Rummenigge, Owen, whoever it is, this guy could be pretty handy as a centre-back. Very strong defensively. Physically and aerially, you can make him strong. You can make him pretty decent. Well, I say aerially, certainly physically, you can make him pretty strong. Decent pace, they're 84 for speed and acceleration. Good balance for a centre-back. Stamina's good. Down the left there, good for a centre-back. You just need to give him a few skills. Give him aerial superiority. Maybe sliding tackle. That's about it, really. I don't think he needs a great deal more. It's just you've got to bear in mind that he's going to come up short, if you pardon the pun, aerially, because he's just not going to have the height and the aerial ability to really deal with big strikers if your opponent's putting crosses in. But you got space on your bench. I think as an option, if you look at your opponent's team before the game, he's not using big strikers. He's not putting crosses into the box. I think outside of the aerial ability with this guy Timber, he could be a very decent centre-back option. Just depends on who your opponent's got up front, but in some situations could be a fantastic option there. So you've got a couple of ways you could use this guy. You could make him a wide midfielder as well. Could you make him a good wide midfielder? To be fair, he's not bad looking. I mean, the crossing would be an issue depending what side you play him on. He's going to certainly be fairly comfortable on the ball for a wide midfielder. This is just with the auto allocation. Got a bit of pace, stamina, got some defensive ability. Maybe as a wing-back, it could be a decent option, You'd have to position train him for wide midfield, but you could certainly do worse. If you play like a 3-4-3, 3-5-2 as a wide midfielder in that kind of a system, won't have that playing style, but I think he's got all the qualities to be able to do a job there as a wing back. So that's maybe an option for you, but I'm not sure many people would be looking to do that really. I think with this guy, what you're looking at is potentially a sneaky centre back if your opponent's strikers aren't too big, but more likely a right back or a left back. He's reasonably two-footed. If you give him outside curler as well, you could certainly be able to do a job for you on the left. But as a right back, don't think you need to do a great deal with the way the points are allocated. You could if you wanted to. You can nick a couple off lower body there, but just leave the speed at 90. I'll give you 6 points. What do you want to do with those 6 points? There's loads you could do. You can make him really nice on the ball for a fullback. He is a fullback finisher, remember. You can make his passing even nicer, get his lofted pass a bit higher. His low pass up to 85 for a fullback. That's very nice. If you gave him through passing, he's already got one touch pass, low pass at 85. When this guy drifts forward into the midfield as a fullback finisher, could be very, very interesting, You could put it on aerial strength, get his physical contact right to 84, but you could get that balance up to the 80 mark. And that also gets his acceleration up to 90 as well. So yeah, that might be the option, to be honest. 1 point spare, just stick where we're going to stick that. We'll just take one off aerial and then we can go one higher on passing, I guess. Yeah, to be honest, I'll be inclined to do that. You get the acceleration up a little bit. You get that balance up a little bit as well. I think that's probably worth doing. But yeah, like I say, you can make him a sneaky centre-back if your opponent's strikers aren't too big, and I think he could be a very, very nice option as a centre-back outside of the aerial concern. Or as a right-back, shuffle the points around however you please, but defensively he's strong. He's got a bit of physical strength. Everything down the right is around about where you need it to be honest, and down the left he's fairly nice apart from not being able to cross the ball very well. So yeah, we have had other versions of Timber, but the fact this one's a right back, you can do the little sneaky centre back build if you don't mind the lack of aerial ability. But just as a right back, you can shuffle a few points around here and there. You can put some skills on him, and if you don't mind the fullback finisher, albeit you can just put the defensive instruction on him, use him as a defensive fullback if you prefer. But if you go with the fullback finisher playing style and you like that, it could be a very, very nice option. So yeah, he's not going to be for everyone, this card, but I do think you've got a couple of ways you can use him, or a few ways you can use him, and I think for a lot of people it could be a very decent option for a 5-star contract. And I almost forgot to mention as well, just in terms of the way they're boosting from his GP card, bit of a mixed boost. Another one of his cards where nothing really majorly stands out, but quite an interesting one because the attributes they boosted the most: heading, fair enough, and then finishing and place kicking. I'm not sure how much thought went into that, but yeah, there you go for the boost. So I don't think there's anything really noteworthy about the boost. But yeah, I think that's for a lot of people, it could be a very interesting option for a 5-star contract. Now we'll take a look at the Hernandez's brothers. Yeah, so we've got Théo first, forward finisher, got a face scan. Honestly, this is just another Théo card. There's nothing really that interesting about it. He's got the usual skills. He's got the skills that help him going forward, but none of the skills that help him defensively. So you're going to need to put some defensive skills on him, as you always do, because it's the same as most Théo cards. Let's just go straight to eFootball Hub. Let's train him up. And, oh, they've not got the maximum levels on there. Hang on, let me just check on back in the game. Hang on. Ooh, where are we? 33. There we go. So yeah, just another Théo card really. That attacking awareness is high. Yeah, that's one of the attributes that's been boosted the most. We'll start with the GP boost then. Attacking awarenesses and lofted pass, the two that they boosted the most. Fair enough. Don't think you really need attacking awareness in a fullback, but it's another fullback finisher, so I guess that will help. He will be drifting into the midfield and pushing quite high up the pitch. Lofted pass as well. He's got pinpoint crossing, so that's nice. He's going to have a decent cross on him, not an amazing one. Yeah, this is one of these fullbacks where they've really gone ham on lower body. Speed 99, stamina 97. Yikes. Do you need that many points on there? Nope. Let's go down to 8. He's still got more than you need, to be honest. Crikey. This is a fullback finisher though, so the question is, where do you need the points? Let's do a more defensive build. We'll give him a more kind of well-rounded build. We'll make him a bit more defensively capable. Shame you can't quite, well, you know what, you can get to 80 for defensive engagement. It's not the most efficient thing to do because you've got to go to 13 on defending, but if you're really concerned about defensive ability, and you might want to do, like I said with Timber, you might want to put a defensive instruction on him and hold him back. If you want to use him as more of a defensive fullback, you could take even more points off lower body, to be honest. We're up to 80 already on physical. Can we get more balance on him? Not really. Let's just make him a bit better at passing. Yeah, if you want to use him more as a defensive fullback, put a defensive instruction on him. I'd probably be tempted to do that. Like I say, it's not the most efficient way to build him because you go all the way up to 13 on defending, but you do go 80 plus on all defensives. You've got 80 physical, still in the 90s for speed, acceleration, stamina. Not amazing balance, not amazing on the ball, but could be worse in both cases. Passing is decent enough, certainly the crossing is. Yeah, as more of a defensive fullback, you could do that, but if you're going to make the most of his playing style and you want to get him higher up the pitch, focus on what he's best at. And bear in mind, by the way, with that defensive build, extra important to put those defensive skills on him. Interception, man marking, block will be the first 3 I'll start with. Very, very important. But yeah, let's get him higher up the pitch and make him a bit better on the ball. So anything else we'd really do? If we get him higher up the pitch, we could take a bit off aerial. 8 points. Maybe just do that, I guess. Yeah, I'd like a bit more balance on him, but yeah, if you gave him, again, I think he's got through passing. Maybe he's one-touch pass, outside curler because he's not two-footed. Yeah, you're really going to need outside curler. That'd be a handy one to have. So one-touch pass and outside curler. I'd still put defensive skills on him, even if you're going to use him as a fullback finisher. Especially since the defensive attributes aren't so great with the more attacking build there, but definitely got the pace. Fairly comfortable on the ball and with his passing there. Balance isn't brilliant, but he's got a bit of physical strength. So yeah, if you like the fullback finisher playing style, could be handy. Could work well for you like that. But yeah, ultimately it's just another Théo card really. We've had a lot of Théo cards. We've had loads of Player of the Week cards. Most of them are left back, and they're all pretty similar to be honest in terms of their overall ability. Obviously the attributes get shuffled around a bit. One was a centre back with the extra frontman playing style. To be honest, this can be a bit better as a centre back if you train him as a centre back. Not amazing, but I think it was the defensive engagement on that Player of the Week card was terrible, like 75 or something. So yeah, most of the Player of the Week cards that are left back are pretty similar to this one overall. And in terms of highlight cards, he had a Showtime card that was an attacking fullback. I think he had edge crossing as well. That's obviously the best version of Théo, but pretty similar to most highlight cards really. He's around about the same level. If you've already got a good version, you don't need this one. There's one that's free a couple of years back, I think, at Christmas. It's got a kind of Christmassy design. It's actually slightly better. It goes one higher in terms of overall ability. So yeah, I'm not sure there's a great need for this Théo card if you've already got a version of him. So yeah, any other positions to train him in? Left midfielder? Just make him a left midfielder to finish off. Can you make him a good left midfielder? Yeah. I mean, again, you don't need that much in a lower body. Let's nick a bunch of points off there. Let's go all the way down to 4 on nobody, because he's still got enough speed and the stamina's still not too bad. That gives us 20 points to play with. Hello. Interesting. Yeah, to be honest, you got through passing, you got pinpoint crossing, attacking awareness at 80. Pretty tidy on the ball. 88 lofted pass with pinpoint crossing. Not got great curl on him, but he's got a bit of kicking power, and that lofted pass at 88 with pinpoint crossing, he'll have a pretty decent cross on him, to be fair, and he's got the pace. So yeah, if you don't fancy him as a left back, and maybe you don't fancy the fullback finisher playing style, playing left midfield, if you position training for left midfield without an active playing style, if you like spamming crosses in, he could be a handy left midfield option for you. So that is an option for you that you got there. So yeah, you do tend to have that option with Théo, but they have boosted attacking awareness and lofted pass on this card. That's something to keep in mind. So it might be a better option as a left midfielder than some other versions of Théo. So yeah, all things considered, it's just another Théo card. But if you don't have a good version of him already, whether it's as a left midfielder like I've done there, or whether it's as a left back, whether you build him the way I built him as a defensive fullback, or just as an attacking one to use as a to make the most of his fullback finisher playing style, he's going to need 1-2 skills whatever you do with him. But yeah, it's just another Théo card. That's not necessarily a bad thing. If you've already got a good version of him, then it is, because you don't need him. But if you don't have a good version of Théo, then depending on how you use him, then you could well get some pretty good use out of him. Certainly for the Italian League Challenge, could be a decent option down the left flank. So yeah, a bit disappointing if you've already got a Théo card. I think most of us do. That's the problem, because there've been so many of them. But if for some reason you don't already have a good version of Théo, then this is another one here for you. So yeah, could be a decent option on the left flank for some people. For most people, I don't think there's a great need for him. So don't think he's going to be the most popular one, but it could give you good value if you do need a Théo card. And next up is his brother. So we've got Lucas Hernandez, who's really unlucky with injuries. He's had a few bad knee injuries, hasn't he, over the past few years, but he's back to fitness at PSG, thankfully. He might even play in the Champions League final. But yeah, Lucas Hernandez got a face scan. Centre-back, extra front man. This is one of the guys who was one of the original kind of glitch centre-backs, his old GP card, which I've still got. You could glitch. He was a left-back defensive fullback, but if you trained him as a centre-back, he was insanely good, and he's still really good now, even comparable to a lot of legends. But now he's a centre-back. He can't really do the sneaky glitch build at centre-back because he's already a centre-back, so he's not quite so good, but he still could be pretty good. We'll find out in a second on eFootball Hub. Skill-wise, he's got pretty much almost a complete set ready for a centre-back. Just needs blocker. That's the one skill he lacks, blocker. He's got everything else he needs, really. But yeah, let's just jump over to eFootball Hub. Let's train him up. Where are we? There we go. So all maxed out, all boosted up. I've had to key in the levels on eFootball Hub. It's 23. Oh, I've done there. 23, yeah. Oh, I've broken it. There we go. So yeah, he's pretty strong. So down the middle, defensive awareness is only at 90, so we can't really afford to spare any points. So it's nice to hit that 90 mark. But you've got more than you need elsewhere. Defensive engagement 98. Super aggressive as well at 98, 94 tackling. So down the middle, very strong. On the right, decent pace. Got a very good jump on him, but he's not the tallest for a centre-back. He's only 6 foot tall. What's his vertical reach? 275. So it's all right, but it's not amazing. Physical contact 86. I would like that to be higher. Thing is, there's not really any points to spare. To get that physical contact a bit higher, you would get to the +3. So you go from 86 to 88 with 1 increase. We'd need 3 points. Is it worth taking 3 points from somewhere else? Not sure. I think most people probably say no, but I'm not most people. I'm a weirdo. Let's do it. There we go. Up to 88 physical contact. We get a bit more jumping as well. So yeah, it's probably worth it. Still got decent pace there, but up to 88 physical contact. It is very important on the centre back. Yeah, and he's an extra front man. Keep that in mind. So as an extra front man, he's going to drift forward. He's going to step forward. He's going to vacate his position. It's not everyone's cup of tea. It's definitely not my cup of tea. I prefer build up. I like to have at least one build up at centre back. Ideally, both my centre backs. I like them both to be build ups. An extra front man just forward, and like I say, he will get caught out of position a little bit. But you might like that if you like an extra front man to step forward. Maybe you have a back three, in which cases you can certainly get away with that a lot better. But yeah, just keep in mind he will do that with that playing style from centre back. And like I said, with the skills, he only really needs blocker. So you've got a pretty solid centre back here. It's just physically and aerially, he's just a slight question mark over him, but that's about it. In terms of his ability, everything else is looking fine, looking spot on. Very decent centre back. Just needs one skill, and you just need to be mindful of the aerial and physical ability and the playing style. Could you make him a left back? Iffy. a very, 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 very defensive left back, yes. If you like your left backs to just be like an extra centre back, which a lot of people do seem to like for whatever reason, then yeah, he can be very effective. He won't be nice on the ball. He will not be good with these technicals here, but defensively very strong for a defensive fullback. Pace, iffy. Balance a bit iffy as well. And the stamina. So yeah, I don't know. I think you need to take some points off defending there. But can you really beef him up enough elsewhere? Not really, no. Yeah, I don't know. Some real strength defensively as a fullback, but outside of that, I think is a bit questionable. I think you're very much best off with this guy. Use him as a centre back. Could position change as a defensive mid. Actually, would he be any good there? No, same situation. The technicals aren't so great. Stamina, yeah, he's very much just going to be best as a centre back. Actually, left midfield, surprisingly enough, horrible, absolutely rubbish as a left midfielder. So yeah. Definitely with this guy, you're only going to be realistically looking at him as a centre back, and he is a strong one. I would personally shift a few points off his pace onto the physical just to get it up to from 86 to 88 on physical contact there, and one extra on jumping as well. There would still be a slight question mark over his physical and aerial ability, but yeah, apart from that, pretty solid centre back, and then he just needs blocker for a skill really. To compare it to other versions, before I almost forget to do that, he's a bit better than the Player of the Week centre back card in the most important defensive areas, although that Player of the Week card is a bit better down the left hand side. A bit kind of similar overall ability really. There was a left back Player of the Week card, which is better as a left back, unsurprisingly, but not as good as a centre back. The best highlight cards with Lucas Hernandez, to be honest, are slightly better than this one. So it's not the best version of him. In terms of what they've boosted, they've not boosted that many of his stats, to be honest. It's just really speed, physical contact, balance, stamina, defensive awareness. That's about it, really. Not much of a boost elsewhere. That's really what you notice when you compare him to his GP card auto-allocated. So yeah, it's not the most exciting version of Lucas Hernandez, but if you don't mind the weaknesses, if you don't have a good version of this guy already, and if you like the profile, you like the playing style, you don't mind the fact he's arguably a little bit lacking physically and aerially, he could be a very good card to pick up. There's lots of qualities with him, but like I said, it's not the best version of him, and I would personally say there's a bit of a question mark on the area physically and physical there, and arguably the playing style as well. So yeah, could be a good card for quite a few people. Again though, there's no French League challenge, so yeah, there are a few negatives with this card to keep in mind. No league challenge, and maybe 1-2 attributes not so high. Playing style, needs blocker, but apart from that, there are plenty of qualities, so it could be a good card for a lot of people, but there are some negatives that you need to consider there. And the last of our 5 stars is Alexis Mac Allister. So it's the third Mac Allister we've looked at. He's an orchestrator. He has a face scan. He's got unwavering form. He's on D at the moment for some reason. Skill-wise, pretty well equipped, but it's another one of his cards where, on the ball and going forward and everything, great, but defensively, you need 1-2 skills there. Yes, you've got slide and tackle, but you could really do with interception. And I personally would put man marking blocker on him as a defensive bid as well. Maybe his outside curl is not overly two-footed. But yeah, 1-2 defensive skill is very important on him, but certainly on the ball with the passing and so on, pretty well equipped. But let's jump over to eFootball Hub. How good is this Alexis Mac Allister card? It's pretty tidy. It's pretty much what you'd expect from Alexis Mac Allister card. I've had quite a few versions of him at this point. We've had there's been a couple of Champions League Player of the Week cards. One was an orchestrator like this one. One was a whole player. The orchestrator is a little bit better. The whole player, around about the same level, to be honest, but in both cases, as you expect with Player of the Week cards, they're kind of, the stats are shuffled around a little bit, so it depends on which attributes you consider the most important. The older Player of the Week cards of Mac Allister aren't quite as good as this one. There's been a Showtime version on which, unsurprisingly, is the best version we've had of him. If you look at the more recent highlight cards, there's been a couple around the same level. Stats kind of shuffled around a little bit. He stacks up pretty well against his highlight cards outside of the Showtime card, to be honest. It's a solid card on the whole. From his GP card, they've mainly boosted his speed. I think it's been 9 points on his speed at level 1. Apart from that, it's a pretty mixed boost. Everything's boosted between sort of 0 and 4, really. So yeah, it's just the speed that's been really boosted significantly. And it's not a massive boost on the whole. If you auto-allocate his GP card, some stats actually look a bit higher on his GP card, but that's because the auto-allocation allocates more points on certain areas. So don't be fooled by that. But yeah, it's a solid version of Mac Allister to this. It's just one of these ones where it just depends where you're going to use him in your midfield. Let's just start with defensive midfield. Let's auto-allocate him as a defensive midfielder first. As you can see, reasonably tidy as a defensive mid. Defensively, he's quite strong. He's okay on the ball and with his passing. Not brilliant, but okay. But physical strength, a bit of a concern for me. I think as a real defensive midfielder, I'm not so sure. I think he's better off in some kind of double pivot, in which case that auto allocation is probably better. You need someone alongside him as some kind of destroyer or anchorman doing most of the defensive work. That physical strength is a bit of a concern. Let's just see, actually, can we just nick a few off passing there? Yeah, look, get that over 70, easy peasy. All the way up to 73, nice. I think that's an obvious choice for me. Still fairly tidy on the ball there. They've got the low pass at 90 still. They've got the passing skills. Defensively, you can put his foot in, do a bit of defensive work on the right hand side there. Got a bit more physical strength on him. I'd still prefer a bit more for anyone in the middle of the park, but we're at least over the 70 mark there. Decent balance, good stamina. Yeah, he's a fairly solid card. Solid midfielder, got a bit of everything. Just skill wise, like I say, I'll give him 1 or 2 defensive skills, especially if you play him as any kind of defensive mid. But even as a centre mid, he at least needs interception. But he's a tidy card. He's got good passing. He's tidy on the ball. Got a little bit of everything. And it's a solid version of Mac Allister. Maybe he's not the best, but it's a solid one. As an attacking mid, could be a sneaky attacking mid, you know. Let's just nick all the points off defending and aerial. Get back to 90 for ball control. In fact, let's go one higher, so he's 90 plus on all those on the ball attributes, and we'll give him a bit more dexterity. It'd be nice if we get to 80 attacking awareness, actually. Can we do that somehow? I think the only place we can really nick points from is lower body. Can we get there? Just about. Is it worth doing that? I think so. Attacking awareness is important. He won't have an active playing style. So with no active playing style, getting the attacking awareness up to 80, he will be getting into decent positions from attacking midfield. If you don't like a player's not having an active playing style, I know a lot of people don't, then obviously it's not going to be something that appeals to you at all, but I don't mind it personally. I've used plenty of players as an attacking mid without an active playing style, and they've been absolutely fine for me. But it depends on your team's playing style and so on. I think with things like possession, it's more of an issue, but yeah, if it does work for you not having a playing style there, 90 plus and a whole lot of those technicals, he's got half decent finishing. Might need some shooting skills though. But yeah, as an attacking mid, it could do a job for you. So it's certainly something you could do. I think most Mac Allister cards can be trained that way. Certainly the trainable ones, of course. So yeah, you got that option, but I think most people would probably prefer him as a centre mid, as an all-rounder. Lovely on the ball, good passing, got a bit of everything, just maybe needs a few points shuffled onto his physical strength. You could use him as a wide midfielder. I'm not sure that's what most people would want to do with this guy. Let's just do that. Hang on. Can we make Alexis Mac Allister? I'm getting my Mac Allisters confused. Can we make Alexis Mac Allister a wide midfielder? Kinda-ish. Reasonable pace. Decent on the ball. Decent part. Very nice passing for a wide man. Attacking awareness up to 80. Good balance. You're going to position train Alexis Mac Allister to be a right winger or a left winger? I don't think you are you? No, not likely. Now we'll leave him on the auto allocation there. Not really a huge amount you need to say about this guy. He's an orchestrator as that kind of deep line playmaker, being pretty tidy on the ball, having very nice passing, but can do a bit of defending as well. As I did initially, I would shuffle a few points, probably from passing onto physical contact there, just to get him a bit more physical strength. I think that's worth doing. Physical strength is very important in the game these days. But yeah, you've got a solid midfielder here. If you're a Mac Allister fan, you don't have a good version already, it can be a good one to pick up. If you got one of his Player of the Week cards, they put 2 in that recent Champions League Encore pack, then you might not need this one, but certainly it is a good one if you don't have a good version of Mac Allister, and if you want one, it could be a very tidy card to pick up for one of your 5-star contracts, especially for the English League Challenge. Good option for that. Whether you're using further up the pitch or a bit further back, you can train him in different ways. And yeah, it's a very tidy midfielder. It just needs one or two defensive skills, in my opinion. Maybe he's outside curler. I don't think he's got that. Yeah, outside curler would be nice as well. But yeah, needs 1-2 skills. But you can train him 1-2 different ways. And as an option in the middle of the park, I think it could be a very tidy option. A very decent card to pick up for a 5-star contract. So these would be my recommendations. We've got a whole bunch of 5 stars. As is usually the case, most of the 5 stars tend to be around about the same level. It's largely personal preference. There are cards which we can't use in the league challenge, whether it's because they're in a league that we don't get a league challenge for, like the Belgian league, or whether it's because they're in a league like with Kostić, for example, where most of us just don't get to take part in the Turkish League Challenge for some strange reason anymore. So that is something that holds a lot of cards back. But for me personally, all things considered, I think these 4 would be the 4 that I would recommend. I think Timber is an obvious one. I think he's a very good right back. The playing style might not suit you. If it does suit you, I think he could be very good as a fullback finisher. If it doesn't, you could put a defensive instruction on him. He could work very well as a defensive fullback. And if your opponent doesn't have any particularly big strikers and they're not spamming crosses, then the aerial concern might not be such an issue, in which case all those other attributes, if you train him as a centre-back, could make him a fantastic option as centre-back in a lot of circumstances. And then Mac Allister, just a really solid centre midfielder with that orchestrated playing style as a deep line playmaker. Could be a very decent option. It's a good Mac Allister card, a good solid one. Kostić, it's pretty obvious how you're going to use him. There's only really one way to use this guy, and that's as a real cross spammer on the left wing with a cross specialist playing style with a deadly cross on him. From personal experience, he's going to be very effective in that way. Obviously, if that's not the way you play the game, then you're not going to give him a second look. But if you do like to put a lot of crosses in, if you're like an old school winger, like a left footer on the left wing who's got a good cross on him, I think he could be well worth considering. I think it's a very decent looking card. And then you got Brekalo, the last one, who I'd recommend. Not an obvious one. I don't think it's one that most people would look at straight away and think he'd be one of the better ones, and you might not consider that he is. It comes down to preference. Does the playing style work for you as a playmaker out wide? I don't know. I certainly don't fancy him. I don't rate him in the registered position they've given him as attacking midfielder. I don't think he suits that. I don't think he's got the passing. He needs through passing for that. But I think in his normal position, playing him wide left, cutting inside him to his right foot, with the skills he's got, the attributes he's got, I think even outside the Turkish League Challenge, I think for a 5-star contract, he could actually be quite a decent one. So, yeah, like I say, with all the 5 stars, as is the case most months, it's largely personal preference. That most of the 5 stars tend to be pretty decent, really. But for me personally, I would pick these 4 out as the ones that I would recommend as giving you potentially the best value for a 5-star contract this time around. And now we move on to Match Pass. And for some reason, we've got a championship player in Match Pass. Why have they done that? Anyways, so bit of mathematics for you. So nothing's changed from the last couple of match passes. 400 for the value, 800 premium. If it's the first time you purchase each of them, you get half price, and the coins you get back if you complete all the matches to get all the rewards back, you get 130 coins back from this one, 170 back from that one. So yeah, a bit of math for you to do there, but that's how much it'll cost you and how many coins you'll get back from them. And yeah, we've got 2 Bellinghams. We've got the Bellingham brothers. We've got Jobe Bellingham, who plays for a championship team, and we've got Jude Bellingham from the premium match pass. So let's start with Jobe. We'll go into eFootball Hub, train them up, and see how good they are. So starting with Jobe Bellingham, he's not bad. So it's going to depend how you use him. You've got a bunch of positions on this guy. Fairly tidy on the ball, good passing. Defensively, not brilliant. Depends where you use him. Down the right, bit of physical strength, bit of balance. Stamina's decent. Pretty decent pace for a midfielder. Good kicking power behind his shots, at least. Yeah, some decent qualities here. Certainly had a good boost from his GP card, as you'd expect. His GP cards, I think, a 2 or 3 star. It's a pretty mixed boost. Lofted pass and defensive awareness are the 2 that they boosted the most. 2 attributes they boosted the most. They put about 10 points on each of those at level 1. What's interesting as well with this card, they've actually given him a bunch of skills. So they've added double touch, through passing. That's an important one. Fighting spirit, blocker, and sliding tackle. So they've added a bunch of skills to a highlight card. They don't always do that. But yeah, we've got a pretty good selection of skills there. Certainly going forward, we do have blocker and sliding tackle defensively, but we could really do with interception and maybe his one-touch pass as well. So skill-wise, one-touch pass and interception would be the 2 skills he needs. But with the skills they've added, we've got a pretty decent selection. They've got a bunch of shooting skills as well. Let's just start with defensive midfielder. We'll work around the pitch because you can train him as a defensive midfielder. Can you make him a good defensive midfielder? I don't think it looks as impressive like that. You can get away with him down the left-hand side. Defensively, not amazing. If you're using some kind of double pivot, yeah, maybe. But if you're going to do that, I think you might as well just have someone alongside him who's very strong defensively and then just go with more like the auto allocation, which I'll go back to now. I think looks more impressive that way with that low pass up to 90, tidy on the ball. Stamina and the kicking power both at 90. Yeah, I think as a centre mid looks pretty decent. Give him interception and one-touch pass. Could be a decent card. You can use him in the English League Challenge. Albeit doesn't play for a Premier League team, plays for a Championship team. But yeah, solid as a centre mid, just not that strong defensively. You can't really spare many points from elsewhere to make him stronger defensively, so you will need 1 or 2 midfielders behind him or alongside him doing the bulk of the defensive work, but certainly getting on the ball, playing passes and stuff. Looks pretty solid. Not amazing, but a solid card. These are the match pass cards, so it's going to cost you 500 coins. Is it worth 500 coins to get a championship player who's kind of solid but not amazing? Not in my opinion. Could we train him another way? What attacking midfield? We've already got attacking midfield. He's a box-to-box, so if you move him up to attacking midfield, he will not have an active playing style anymore. Obviously, that's not going to be for everyone, but for those who don't mind not having an active playing style, let's just see how good you can make him. Just making, we'll give him a bit more attacking awareness. Yeah, you can make him decent as an attacking mid. Not amazing, but you can get the attacking awareness up to 80. Pretty tidy on the ball. Still got that good passing there. A few points more on his finishing. He's got those shooting skills. Pretty nice pace for an attacking midfielder. That kicking power behind his shots. Bit of physical strength for an attacking mid. Not all attacking midfielders have that. Decent balance, good stamina. Yeah, could do a job there as an attacking mid. Again, you would need one touch pass. Maybe his first time shot, but you got long range curler, you got long range shooting, rising shots if you like that. Through passing is already there. So yeah, it could be a decent option attacking mid. Again, I don't think he's amazing there, but you know, again, he's a championship player, plays for a championship team. That is what it is. What about even higher up the pitch, SS or centre forward? I mean, we've not got any more defensive points that we can spare to make him better going forward. So yeah, I don't know. I think the only way you could really do a slightly different build going forward, make him better equipped to play as an SS or centre forward, albeit as an SS, I think he's already pretty well equipped. I think you could, with that kind of a build, it'd be fine there. But if you were going to focus less on the passing and just try and get him into a position to score goals, more focused on that and not so much on the passing, you can get his finishing up to 80. That's quite interesting, actually. Got 1 point spare, stick on aerial. So yeah, if you're not as concerned about the passing, but you want to get him in making those runs into the box and give him shooting opportunities, you've got some shooting skills, get the finishing up to 80. He's got kicking power 90, some power behind his shots as well. Could do a job there. Again, he's not amazing, doesn't look amazing like that, but certainly he could be solid. You've got a few ways you could train this guy. Centre forward, I'll just auto allocate that because I'm pretty sure, yeah, he's not going to be amazing there. Fully boosted 85 attacking awareness, 82 finishing, not brilliant. I don't think it's really worth position training this guy and making him a centre forward. But the only other position you could use him, wide midfield. Could we make him a wide midfielder? Let's just auto allocate first. Right midfield. 3-1 point from defending. Let me see. I don't know. I mean, got the speed up to 90. Nice. Let's just nick one off dexterity. That gives us 7 to play with. I don't know. As a wide midfielder, pretty nice on the ball. Decent passing for a wide man. He's got through passing. Attacking awareness at 80. Finishing's not amazing. Good pace on the whole. The acceleration's not amazing, but the speed up to 90. Great kicking power there. I don't know. Is it worth making this guy a wide midfielder? You'd have the box-to-box playing style active. That's not necessarily going to be everyone's cup of tea. I don't know if it's worth the position trains. I think for most people, you're going to look at this guy probably as a centre midfielder, maybe as an attacking midfielder. And he could be a solid option. Again, you do have the option of using him in the English League Challenge since he plays for an English team, albeit not a Premier League team, a Championship team. But yeah, could be a solid one to pick up. But the thing is, it's not a nominating contract you're using on this guy. It's match pass. So you're going to have to pay 500 coins for him. Do you want to pay 500 coins for this player? I don't, obviously. I don't know if he's really that good a value for 500 coins. Obviously, it's quite a rare one because we don't tend to get highlight cards from Championship clubs for obvious reasons. But yeah, I don't know. I think for 500 coins, it's probably not great value overall. But if you're a fan of the particular Championship team that he plays for, then I'm sure you won't hesitate to spend the coins to get him. But I think for most people, for 500 coins, it's not really worth it. There are other cards you can get that are just as good, if not better, that won't cost you 500 coins. So yeah, it's a weird choice for me. I think this particular card should have been in the nominated contract pack. It's a little bit annoying. They made some weird decisions this time around, but like I say, if you support the particular Championship club that he plays for, then it'd be a really appealing one. But outside of that, I think for most people, yes, it's a fairly good card. He's got some qualities. He's absolutely, it's a decent card. Not going to deny that at all, but I just think for 500 coins, yes, you get a bunch of contracts and coins back from the match pass and everything, but I don't think it's a great choice. I don't think it's great value as a value match pass player, but certainly it's not a bad card at all. Needs 1 or 2 skills. Few ways you can train him though. Could very well be decent, but yeah, 500 coins for a Championship player, not for me. And for our premium expensive match pass player, we've got another Jude Bellingham card. We've had quite a few. So again, is this the best choice for one of the match pass players? I don't know. I would much prefer it as a player we've not had many versions of, but so many of us have had a version of Bellingham already by now. How many people are going to want to spend the coins? It's a weird choice for me, but let's max him out and look at how good he is. And he's quite good, as you'd expect from Bellingham. So it's not the best version of Bellingham. We've had loads of Player of the Week versions of Bellingham, and the best ones tend to be a bit better. Obviously, the stats are shuffled around a bit on the Player of the Week cards. They've had different playing styles, whole player, playmaker, box-to-box, whatever. But yeah, they've had quite a few Player of the Week cards in terms of overall ability are a bit better than this. I've had a load of highlight cards as well of Bellingham. I've had some Showtime versions, which are obviously a bit better. The most recent England pack version of him. Similar profile, but slightly better than this one overall. The recent Real pack, very similar to this one, to be honest. A very similar card to this one. So yeah, I don't see a great deal about this card that's really making me, it's really screaming out that you should spend 1,000 coins on it. It's hard to really justify. Sorry, 800. I was saying 500 for the other guy as well, the championship player. It's 400 for that one, 800 for Jude. So yeah, 800 coins. How many people really need a Jude card? And even if you do you need it bad enough to spend 800 coins on it? It's not a great choice for me. But yeah, like I say, it's not the worst version. Obviously, we've had better versions of him, but it's still a solid version of Jude. There was a nominated contract version that was a box-to-box, not a whole player. I've still got that one. That's from ages ago now. As an attacking midfielder, if you give him a more attacking build, this card is definitely better. But if you do more of a centre midfielder and an all-round build, that old one still does hold his own, to be honest. It's still a pretty good card, pretty comparable to this one. And like I said, it does have the box-to-box playing style, which you might prefer depending on what position you play him in. If you look at his GP card, the way they boosted from his GP cards, they're a very mixed boost. They've not boosted too many stats, to be honest. They've put a few points on his pace, his kicking power, physical contact, boosts his defensives a little bit. But apart from that, a few have gone up by 1, and a bunch just haven't gone up by any at all. So it's not the most exciting boost. And like I say, it's not the best version of Jude, but it is still a good one. If you want a good Jude card, it is definitely a good card if you're willing to part with enough coins to get him. As you can see here, he's an attacking midfielder. Sometimes he's been a centre midfielder in the past, but he's an attacking midfielder, whole player. And yeah, he's pretty much what you expect from Jude. He's pretty nice on the ball. They're very, very tidy on the ball. His passing is decent. He's got one-touch pass. He's not got through passing, but this is one version of Jude that you can train. So you can put through passing on him. Depending where you're going to use him, you might want to give him interception if you're going to use him as a centre midfielder. You can make him a defensive midfielder, but I don't think it'd be great as a defensive mid. Let's just start defensive mid and work our way up the pitch. Oh, crikey, he's not bad at defensive mid. They've really boosted defending there. That's an option, I guess, to be fair. If you want to put him in some kind of double pivot, he will not have an active playing style as a defensive midfielder. That might bother you. But as a defensive mid, you could definitely use him there. I don't see any real major weaknesses as a defensive mid. You could argue you want more tackling on him, but I think he's definitely going to be in some kind of double pivot. He's not going to be your lone defensive mid, but you could do a job for you there for sure. You need through passing, you need 1 or 2 defensive skills, but if you're willing to give him the skills, yeah, in some kind of double pivot as a DMF could do a job for you. So let's push up to centre mid and auto allocate to the centre mid. So the passing is great, tidy on the ball. Defensively, not terrible, but I'd like a bit more certainly on tackling. Down the right, pretty sound looking. No major concerns really. I think I would personally nick a couple of passing there and just see how good we can get his defending. Can't quite get his tackling up to 80, can we? Yeah, we can nip off from dexterity and do exactly that. Bosh, there we go. Oh, and then he just one shy of 8 for awareness. But yeah, as a centre midfielder with a build something like that could be very solid. Down the right, pretty sound. Bit of physical strength about him, bit of balance. Stamina's around about the mark you need it to be. Defensively, he can put his foot in, do a bit of defensive work. If you give him 1 or 2 defensive skills, especially interception, you'd need through passing, but with through passing, the passing will be nice, tidy on the ball, good attacking awareness. Attacking and defensive awareness, both pretty decent. So yeah, as a centre midfielder, pretty solid. I don't think many people would want him as a wide midfielder. Let's just put him as a wide midfielder just to see what happens. Don't know. I think he'd feel a bit clunky for wide midfield. Certainly loads of qualities there. Is it worth making him a wide midfielder? The dribbling is not amazing. Acceleration. He's quite a tall physical guy. I don't know. I'm not sure personally. He'd be a whole player. Maybe he's a whole player, to be fair. Whole player will be active left mid and right mid. If you gave him pinpoint crossing, put him on the right, maybe he could do a job there. I think most people prefer him on the left. He does have double touch flip-flap soul control, so he's got the ball roll double touch. So, a bit of speed about him. Yeah, he could be decent on the ball as a left midfielder. I don't think I'd change much about the... In fact, I would. I'll take some points of passing there, and I'll just try and get a bit more dexterity on him. There, you can get to 88 for balance. 90 attacking awareness. Hello, hang on a minute, hang on. Okay, so left midfield, whole player playing style active, 90 attacking awareness, fairly tidy on the ball, the passing decent enough wide midfield, especially if you're going through passing, finishing 82, speed at 90, acceleration 85, got some good kicking power behind his shots, bit of physical strength, good balance, good stamina. Has he got a long range curler? No. So if you give him through passing and long range curler, you could actually make him, if you position training for left midfield, you could make him a pretty interesting left midfielder. That is an option for you. I'm not recommending that necessarily, but yeah, he's actually quite a bit better as a left midfielder than I expected him to be. But yeah, if we push him out, let's go back to his registered position, attacking midfield and auto allocation. I personally wouldn't go that high on the ball. I'll just go, maybe he's up to 11. Probably don't need that much on finishing. Can we get the passing up to 90 low pass? I think we can. We just need to nick something from elsewhere. Yeah, I'll just do that. Yeah, so again, through passing, very important. You need to give him through passing, but good passing, good finishing for an attacking midfielder, tidy on the ball, good attacking awareness for a whole player. He will be making some good attacking runs, getting into good attacking positions, decent amount of pace on him, a little bit of kicking power. Again, a bit of physical strength and decent balance, stamina, yeah. And he can do a bit of defensive work as well. So as an attacking mid, but the whole player playing style could be very interesting. As an SS as well, I'll go with a similar build to that. I wouldn't change much. I think as an SS, he could be interesting as well. Again, you would have that whole player playing style active. Is this a Jude card you can make a striker? Yeah, to be fair, it is. Finishing not quite at 90. Can we get up to 90? Let's just see. We'll leave the physical contact at 80. We're going to dip below 88 on something or other. I think we'll do it from dexterity. We've got 2 points left. We're dribbling. Yeah. Could be an interesting option. You would need to give him first time shot. Oh, he's got a first time shot. Okay, rewind. You don't need to give him first time shot. Would need to give him long range curler and through passing. And then I think as a centre forward who's got a bit of everything, could be pretty interesting. He won't be brilliant in the air actually, jumping only 71, but got a bit of strength about him, good balance, decent pace, tidy on the ball for a centre forward. Awareness and finishing at 90, low pass at 80. If you give him through passing, it could be a very interesting centre forward option. Inactive playing style, but yeah, plenty to be said for him. I know he's one into other Bellingham cards that are quite good as a centre forward, and this is another one. That is an option for you if you don't mind the lack of a playing style, if you think he's got the attributes that you'd want from a centre forward. So you could do that, but yeah, a bunch of ways you could use him. A sneaky left midfielder, whole player could be an interesting one as well, but I think attacking midfield is probably where most people would want to put him. It's a pretty solid Jude card. It's not the best. We have had a bunch of player of the week cards a bit better than this. There's 1 and 2 highlight cards slightly better as well. So yeah, you may well have a better Jude card already. And for that reason, I don't know why they've chosen this card as the premium match pass. It just feels like they've taken one look and said, oh yeah, Jude's popular, we're making premium match pass, everyone will buy it, and just haven't considered the fact that we've had 1 million Jude cards already, and most of us already got at least one of them, which is the reason why I think it's a bad choice for the premium match pass. Is it worth 800 coins? For most people, I doubt it, but it is a good Jude card. Not the best, and most of us probably got one by now, but it's a good card. There's a bunch of ways you can use him. Needs 1 and 2 skills in any position, but if you do not have a good version of Jude and you really want one, this is a good one. It's a solid version of Jude. So yeah, if you don't mind shelling out all the coins for it, can be a very good card. I just think it's a poor choice for the premium match pass personally. So there are all your new nominating contract and match pass players. Hopefully you found this useful. I think on the whole it's a reasonable selection. I think the theme of having kind of brothers in the nominating contract pack, whatever it's called, that lineage thingy, I think to be honest the idea is kind of cool, but I think in practice, once you really look at what players they put in there, I'm not so keen. You've got a bunch of cards in there that we've had at least a few versions of previously. I want more variety personally. Yes, the cards are good objectively, but they're boring, you know. If I wanted any of the cards in the pack, or most of the cards in the pack, I would have got a previous version. I think a lot of people probably feel the same. I'll be interested to know you guys' thoughts, but I just find it slightly uninteresting. The better cards, like I say, just aren't that exciting because we've seen them before, and the ones that aren't so good just aren't so good. Do you want a Mac Allister that plays in the Belgian league? Do you want a Mac Allister that plays in the Argentinian league? What are you going to use them for? Maybe not terrible cards, but I just don't think they're in that pack. They're really great options, and in the other packs, same situation that we always got. You got cards, 4-star cards and a few 5-star cards from leagues that most of us don't get to do a league challenge for anymore, which doesn't make sense to me, never has, but I'm frankly tired of having that rant. So yeah, limited use for a lot of these cards. I don't agree with the choices of the value or premium match pass players. For to a great extent, it feels like they just don't want us to buy match pass, which is completely backwards to me. But like I say, maybe I'm just ranting too much and sounding negative, but I'll be very interested to hear you guys' thoughts on the whole on all of these. There are certainly some decent cards in there. There are some decent options for both your 4-star and 5-star contracts. So yeah, hopefully with this video I've helped you to make your decisions about who to use your contracts on. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. I really appreciate you watching. So cheers for watching. I'll be doing a live stream, well, at least one over the weekend, maybe it's 2 over the weekend. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you for that. I'll review the free buy-in players at some point as well, so there'll be streams and videos coming up. So thank you for watching as always. Have a fantastic weekend, and I'll catch you all soon. Take care of yourselves. See ya.